My best friend's boyfriend has been making AI corn of people we know, and she's staying with him, all in our mid-20s. Hello everyone, this is my first ever post and a throwaway account. I'm very lost and confused with this whole situation, and I'm looking for advice from people who've maybe experienced this before. For some context, me, Cass, fake name, her boyfriend and Ray, also fake name, are all friends. Me and Cass have been friends for 17 years, and all of us used to work together. How Cass and her boyfriend met, plus how we met Ray. We hang out and game together regularly, but mainly it's me, Ray and the boyfriend gaming. We've all gotten along and have never had any drama for the last 5 years that we've all been friends. This all started earlier this week. I was with Ray and she asks me if I've heard anything from Cass, because some shit went down over the weekend regarding her boyfriend. The story goes that she had been seeing weird behavior in her boyfriend of 5 years over the last several months, prompting her to go through his phone while he was asleep. She then calls Ray, sobbing hysterically at what she found. Cass described seeing AI corn of people that they knew. They were generated to make them pregnant with huge boobs. The bigger issue, it was of her own sister, as well as a distant friend of hers that lives in another state, and his mom. After they end the phone call, Ray sent a text of support to her, but Cass says that she found worse stuff she didn't want to show or tell Ray about, and says she's going to confront him. Shortly after, she tells Ray that her boyfriend was in the bathroom with his phone deleting further evidence, and that he doesn't want to talk about it right now. After some short back and forth, Cass tells Ray that the issue is resolved and that they're fine. ? After hearing this, I'd sent a text to Cass, asking if everything was alright, and that I was told to check on her. Cass never told Ray not to tell me anything, but she had done a very quick 180 from being pissed to saying that they love each other and will work on it, so I was curious to see if she would change the story. Over text, she tells me that it was just a corn addiction that went a little too far. That he was messing with AI corn, and as a result, he feels angry and disgusted with himself. Suicidal even, but claims that he never got off to it, nor was he attracted to them. Also that he will be going to therapy once he gets insurance from his new job. She was very adamant that they're fine now, and how she wants to spend the rest of her life with him and have kids. We set up a time to call and talk about it, and here's how it went. She started by repeating that what happened was a corn addiction that just got out of control. My best friend's boyfriend has been making AI corn of people we know, and she's staying with him. She told me that she found AI corn on his phone, and when I asked if it was people we knew, she told me no, that it was people that we don't know from Facebook. So already I'm upset. She's already lying to me. And Ray is absolutely not the type to lie or start drama randomly. I knew I couldn't call her out on anything in the moment. If I did, she would immediately get defensive and shut down on me completely. Instead, I brought up how making AI corn of real people is illegal in our state, and she responded that they had deleted everything. Facebook, Twitter, Grok, so it's fine. I mean, that content is still out there somewhere and can still be traced back, but I digress. What got under my skin the most was when I told her that men with AI addictions will commonly make content like that of people that they know, friends, family, etc., and how I'm deeply concerned that this is the case. And she responded with, quote, "Well, I've been dating him for 5 years. Nervous laugh. I know the kind of person he is. We're gonna get through this together," unquote, which bothered me because she didn't even deny it. The more I tried to make sense of it, the more upset she seemed to get. When I tried to ask her about the thing she found that was worse than the AI corn, she completely changed the topic and didn't bring it up again. The phone call ended amicably, but with nothing really resolved. To me personally, just the fact that someone made AI corn of real life people is violating and disrespectful enough for me to cut contact with them. But for it to also be people we know that's close to her and deciding she's going to stay and forgive him leaves me with an icky feeling. And we're still left wondering about the worst stuff. What could it be that she can't even tell her best friend of 17 and 5 years? I'm hurting by her being untruthful with me. I understand the situation could be embarrassing to talk about, and I'm not technically entitled to any of this information. Cass had hid arguments and details about their fights from us before, saying she doesn't want us to view him differently, as we're all friends, but when I try to tell her what she feels and thinks matters more, I get shut down. According to her, this addiction has been going on for months. He's been out of work for a year due to injury, and you don't just start with incest in her family and distant friends. We can't stop thinking about who all else he had done it to. His brother's spouses, maybe? His old co-workers? He really doesn't have friends outside of me and Ray, and that's not something we want to think about. Where do we go from here? The friendship dynamic is effed. It goes without saying that neither of us feel comfortable around him knowing that he's been doing that, but Cass and him have a very codependent relationship, so if we cut him off, we would have to accept potentially losing her too. He tells her he won't ever do it again, and she believes him, but I've heard enough stories of the person reoffending, so I don't have much hope there. I don't think she deserves to be in this situation, and we want what's best for her. Is there any way that we can help her?
Am I the asshole for showing up my brother's girlfriend by getting him a birthday gift he liked more and not warning her that I was getting a big gift? I, 25 female, have a twin brother, 25 male. Growing up, our favorite pastime was building Legos together. Our family couldn't afford it often, so the sets we had were treasured, and we always bought bags of loose bricks from charity shops whenever we saw them. It was a major bonding time for us, making things together, and my brother claims that those days of playing with Legos is what inspired him to go on and become an architect. That's so cute! It was our birthday on Friday, and we had a small thing with family. My boyfriend of 3 years, 27 male, was there, and so was my brother's girlfriend of 2 years, 24 female. During the gift exchange, we left each other's presents to last, as we always have, and opened our respective gifts. They were very nice and enjoyable, nothing to complain about on either side. When we exchanged gifts, however, it led to some laughs and delight on both sides. I got him the... Oh shit, y'all. Alright, hold on. I don't know if I know this word. Neuschwanstein Castle Lego set. Don't come for me. I tried. My brother got me the Notre Dame Lego set. He clearly loved his gift and was going on about how excited he was to build it and how he'd be spending his next day off working on it. He showed a lot more enthusiasm for this than the watch that his girlfriend got him, though he clearly liked that too. I completely forgot while we were here. While I was struggling over that fucking castle word, I completely forgot that the whole reason we're here is because little Miss Insecure over here is upset that he liked his sister's gift more than hers. Okay, so far I'm gonna say no, you're absolutely not the asshole, because bro is clearly over the fucking moon. He can't wait to have a day off of work so he can make this damn thing. Since then, his girlfriend has reached out to me, insisting I tried to show her up deliberately by getting him a gift he'd like more, and how she was trying to treat him like an adult with her gift, while I was encouraging him to be childish. Wait a goddamn minute. Wait a fucking minute. You're trying to show me up because you bought him something that you knew that he would like, while I bought him something that's supposed to be for an adult. Bitch, if you want someone to act like they like your gift, how about, hear me out, buy them something you know they're gonna fucking like. Who the fuck's gonna be excited about getting a watch for their birthday? I don't give a damn how old I am. That's like giving me socks for Christmas. Are you serious? She also thinks that we somehow planned this gift exchange as we both got Legos for each other. Bitch, this bitch so fucking insecure it's making her delusional. Ma'am, you are dating a twin. As someone who is engaged to an identical twin, bitch, it gets weirder. It gets weirder than them just so happening to gift each other something that they both know they're going to enjoy on their birthday. Bitch, it gets worse. No, what the fuck? No, you're absolutely not the asshole. I had to tell her, no, it's just something that we've always enjoyed together, and it's just natural that we do this. I also told her that I had no intention of showing her up, but that if she really wanted to win the day with gifts, she should have considered his interests and not worried about what seemed appropriate for an adult, period. I like you. I like you. He then pivoted to the fact that she is his girlfriend and I should have warned her I was getting an expensive gift. I pointed out my brother didn't warn my boyfriend, but she insists that doesn't matter, that I should have warned her. You need to tell your brother. You need to tell your brother exactly what the fuck is going on, because I promise you this girl is going to do everything that she can to come between you and your brother. She is insecure as the day is long, and she does not like how close you guys are. She's gonna do her damnness to split you guys apart. You need to tell your brother. Was I in the wrong for not giving her a warning and leading her to feel shown up as a result? I've never felt the need to give a warning when my brother dated, but maybe I should have. So am I the asshole? No, baby, you're absolutely not the asshole, but this girl is. She is a walking, talking red flag. Red flags, red sheets, red quilt, red curtains, red dress, red goddamn panties, bitch. You need to sit down and talk to your brother. You need to talk to your brother because the way that she's behaving is extremely controlling. Red flags. Red fucking flags. I really want to know if this girl even really likes your brother, because from my point of view, it doesn't really seem like she does. She doesn't care about what it is that he's interested in. She wants to change him. She thinks that his interests are childish. So she purposely did not buy something that she knew he would like. Then got upset because somebody else bought something that he would like and he liked it. My question, since the fuck when does wearing a watch make you an adult? Show of hands, who knew wearing a watch made you an adult? I didn't, because it fucking doesn't. Just like building with Legos doesn't make you a child. Just wait till she finds out there are grown ass adults that have made literal careers out of building shit out of Legos. This bitch gonna make my ass itch for the rest of the day. Go talk to your brother. I cannot stress this enough. Go and talk to your brother. And let's just hope that he's got the sense that he was born with and doesn't get upset at you for attempting to pull off the rose-tinted glasses.
My maid of honor begged me not to marry my fiance a week before our wedding, and I need to know if I did the right thing. My fiance and I had been together for over 3 years, and I thought that I was the luckiest girl in the whole world. My friends loved him, my family loved him. I truly was living in the mindset that I was in this perfect relationship with the perfect guy. My maid of honor was my best childhood friend. She knows me better than anyone else in the entire world, but unfortunately, we live in different states. So before I got engaged, she had only met my fiance a handful of times when she came to visit, or we went to visit her. But about 5 months before the wedding, my maid of honor actually decided to move home, and she ended up living about 15 minutes from me. So she started spending a ton of time with my fiance and I. And this is when I started noticing a shift. She seemed to be so much less excited about wedding planning. When my fiance would walk into the room, she'd go quiet. It was just weird. Like, I could tell the vibe was off, and anytime I tried to ask her about it, she would just tell me it was nothing. She was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's fine. I kind of chalk it all up to the fact that maybe she's just stressed out because being a maid of honor is a big responsibility, and she just went through this big move. It's probably just a lot on her plate, so I don't push it. But that's when I get the phone call. Less than a week before my wedding, I get a call from my maid of honor, and she's absolutely sobbing and asks me if she can come over. I was like, yes, absolutely. I think that something's going on with her personally. I would have never expected what she was about to say to me. So she comes over, and she's an absolute mess. She's crying, she's shaking, she looks so upset. And so I'm trying to ask her what's wrong, and for a while, she's just not even able to say anything to me. But finally, she just looks at me and says, you can't marry him. You have to call off this wedding. And I am absolutely shocked. And my mind goes exactly where yours may have gone. Did you find out he was cheating on me? She's like, no, that's not it. I was like, okay, did he say something to you that rubbed you the wrong way? Like, I don't understand. She's like, no, he didn't say anything to me. So I'm just absolutely dumbfounded. I'm trying to get her to explain more what's going on. And she was like, it's hard for me to even describe why you need to end it, but you need to trust me. It's for the best that you don't marry this man. And that's when she hands me her phone, and it's not pictures, it's not texts, it's a notes app. And since she had moved closer to us, she started writing down every instance where she felt like my fiance was not good for me. She told me it was never the plan to gather all this information and put it in a notes app and then just bombard me with it right before my wedding, but that's kind of what was happening. Like, she wrote down a ton of things, and then right before my wedding is showing me. She told me that she started to feel like she was losing her mind a little bit because she felt like my fiance wasn't good for me, but she didn't know if those feelings were valid or if maybe she was just a super overprotective friend. So every time a situation presented itself where she started getting this feeling that something wasn't right, she wrote it down so that she could look at it and then decide if her feelings were valid. And my immediate reaction is to be upset because nobody's perfect. So what do you mean you were just writing every single time he messed up on a list and that's what you're presenting? Because obviously he's gonna look bad if you're just writing down every single mistake you've ever seen him make. But that's when I noticed that the notes app wasn't just specific instances of things that he did. It was showing patterns, things that he was consistently doing that weren't right. One of the examples she had on the notes app was, your fiance always puts down your accomplishments. And she noted the instance when I got promoted at work and I threw a celebration dinner, and my fiance, in front of all of my friends and family, said that, yeah, it was great that I got promoted, but if I would have worked harder, I would have already been promoted. And looking at all the examples on there, I realized she was kind of right. When I was thinking about it, anytime something big and amazing happened in my life, it was never just congratulations, that's amazing. It was always conditional. That's amazing, but it could have been more amazing, or but I did this, or but but never just congratulations. Another thing that was on the list was that he was constantly putting me down in front of everybody, but he was using the excuse that it was a joke to make it okay. For example, one time we were meeting my friends out at a dinner and he had asked me to grab him something from home and totally forgot. Was super busy that day. It just slipped my mind. When I get there, he just starts going on and on about how I'm the most forgetful person he's ever met, that he can't even trust me to plan our wedding or our honeymoon by myself. Like, he has to really make sure I'm doing everything right because I would probably just forget one of the most important things and ruin the day. First of all, I'm really not that forgetful. I forgot one thing in this situation, but he turned that one thing into an entire speech about why I'm basically useless. And the list started to go on and on like that. It was not these one-off instances. It was just continuous patterns of behavior that just kind of showed that he didn't respect me. But I was not ready to see that right before my wedding. So obviously at this point, I'm very upset. And I tell my maid of honor that it is probably best if she goes home because I just need to sit and process all of this. And as I begin thinking about it, I was like, this is ridiculous. She's just being overprotective. She only sees a small part of our relationship. She doesn't see all the amazing things he does for me, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm telling myself. But the next day, something happened and it just hit me all at once that she might be right. I was looking for my AirPods and I asked my fiance, hey, have you seen them anywhere? Cannot find them. They were not where I left them. And he just starts going on this rant about how I'm so irresponsible, how he can't ever buy me anything nice because I'm just gonna lose it. And I need to work on that. And you know, it's such a burden on him how much I lose things. What if I really couldn't tell you that many things I've lost. Everyone loses things sometimes. Not that big of a deal, but he's just going on and on and on about how irresponsible I am. Like, okay, I get it. I ended up apologizing. I'm like, yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm always apologizing. That was on our list too. You're always apologizing when you really didn't do anything wrong. Then an hour later, my fiance comes over to me, drops my AirPods on my lap and says, oh yeah, forgot. I actually took them from right where you said you left them and took them to the gym with me. Here you go. No apology. No, hey, I'm really sorry that I just went off on you about how forgetful you are and how, irresponsible you are, when really he was the one that was forgetful that he took my AirPods without asking to go use them in the first place. It just hit me all at once, all the times that I apologized for things that weren't my fault, all the times that I felt like I needed to communicate better, that I was too emotional, that everything was my fault, when really, no, it wasn't. When I looked at that list, I was like, wait, the reason that I would feel the way that I felt and I would be upset is because sometimes he wasn't nice to me. And I don't know what causes me to ask this question specifically, but I just look at him and say, hey, do you remember why we got in a fight the night before my birthday? And my birthday had been a few months back, so this was pretty recent. And he just looks at me and goes, oh yeah, when I got home late and you completely overreacted by getting upset with me, but I don't know why we're talking about this, like I forgave you. For context, what happened that night was I was throwing a birthday dinner celebration for all my closest friends at my apartment, and he didn't show up. I was calling him, I was texting him, he wasn't there. He shows up in the last 30 minutes of the dinner because he forgot about it. He was out drinking with his friends and just didn't come. I didn't even say anything to him about it. I just started crying and I went and spent the night at one of my friends' houses that night because I was just so hurt. And that's when I realized that my best friend was completely right and she was able to see something that I was unable to see with my rose-colored glasses. Even when I didn't do anything wrong and he was obviously in the wrong, it all gets twisted and somehow I'm the one apologizing. And I just called off the wedding right there. Less than a week before the wedding. He was shocked. He did not see it coming. I was shocked. I didn't see it coming. Yeah, I just told him, I can't do this. I can't do this relationship. It's not right for me. And I left. I packed up my stuff and I showed up on my maid of honor's front door. And I was like, hey, can I live with you for a little bit? Some of my friends and family think I overreacted. They think that these were just a few small things that we could have worked on instead of canceling an entire wedding and just breaking up. I don't know, I feel like I did the right thing. But let me know what you think and what you would have done because yeah, it was a little bit of an extreme decision.
My fiance suddenly doesn't want to marry me anymore because of a disagreement we had a year ago. What now? I'm 32 and she's 32. I've been with my fiance Lola for almost 7 years now and we've been engaged for 2 of those years. We have twins together, male and female 3, and I thought we were happy. About a year ago, we had a small disagreement about how she was raising the kids. But after receiving some feedback from Reddit, I was able to see that I was in the wrong and I was being incredibly offensive toward my wife. This was on a different account that I lost the info for, but everyone was very helpful, so thanks again. I apologized and she seemed to accept my apology, and I thought things were back to normal after all of that. She seemed to be her normal self again, and we didn't argue or disagree about that topic anymore. In fact, we hadn't even had a minor disagreement for months after that. I thought we were happy. Well, we were originally planning to get married last year in October of 2023, but she ended up changing her mind and saying that she wanted to push back the wedding a bit. I was a bit confused and she wouldn't really elaborate on why. She just said it was stressful to plan a wedding with toddlers and she needed more time, so I agreed. Well, she just dropped a bomb on me out of nowhere a few days ago when she randomly stated that she didn't think that she wants to get married anymore. This was heartbreaking to hear, of course, and I asked that we sit and talk it out. She ended up telling me that she doesn't think that we're compatible after 7 years and that she thinks that we should go our own ways and co-parent. I'm devastated. I pressed for more information, like, what made you realize this, and why now? And she basically said that she felt like I didn't really know her, and that I didn't want to know her. I thought this was ridiculous. I know everything about her. I know her favorite color, movie, and song. I know her favorite food. I can read her body language extremely well. I do know her. We've been together for years. She said a few more things, and apparently, she's been thinking about our relationship since that fight that happened a year ago. She said it was eye-opening for her, and that when I let her see the post and she looked through all the comments, she realized things about me that she had swept under the rug for years and blown off as one-time issues. She went on a whole spiel about all these things that she had realized about me and how she didn't think we should be together anymore. I don't even know what she means. I think I zoned out for most of the rant because I was so blindsided and hurt by this that I was trying not to break down in tears. I offered to go to couples counseling and individual counseling, but she said it was too late and that I should have done that and offered that a year ago when all this blew up. I don't even know what to do now, and I think it's a bit unfair for her to put all of that on me. Just because I didn't think of therapy after a minor disagreement a year ago, I'm no longer someone that she wants to marry? That's insane. I don't know what to do. How can I get her to give me another chance to see that I still love her and we can make this work? What can I say to make her change her mind? I'm so lost and I don't know what to do.
Am I the asshole for banning my teenage nephew from my house and keeping my family away from him on Christmas? On Thanksgiving, my daughter lost her AirPods. We did find my AirPods, and they were at my sister's house in my nephew's Adam 13 bedroom. He claims it was a mistake and he thought that they were his. But when we got them back, the AirPods were still in the pink donut carrying clip that my daughter uses. Adam has had a lot of mistakes over the years, from taking game controllers, AirPods, toys that he randomly finds. This has been an ongoing issue, and I think at 13, it's time for Adam to stop having these mistakes. I told my sister Adam is not welcome at my home for Christmas because he has made the mistakes there and steals other people's things. I don't think I'm being mean, but I'm sick of the little thief who has no consequences, and I don't want him in my home anymore. Because of this, my mom is now hosting Christmas because I don't want to. I made it clear to my family why. I think it's past the time we address Adam's issues. My mother and sister think I'm going about this the wrong way, and I'm just being way too mean on Adam over a little mistake. I'm honestly just sick of being around him. I had to tell my kids not to take any expensive or new gifts they like to grandma's. I've also told them no sharing with Adam, and any gifts we unwrap at grandma's goes straight to the car and locked in. The situation pisses me off because I now feel like I have to punish my kids for Adam's behavior, and they can't play with their own things on Christmas and be vigilant because their cousin steals. And no one but me seems to give two craps about how wrong that is.
Update: I'm an escort and I'm falling in love with one of my clients. Disclaimer: this is not my story. I will list the source in the caption of this video. Our relationship is changing, and very much for the better. There is no longer any fear between us. We can both be honest about how we feel about each other without being scared that the other's gonna think we're crossing any lines. Plus, now that I'm out of the business, my nights and weekends are much freer than they previously were, and that's time I'm spending with him now. It's been really nice to be able to see him whenever I want and not have to worry about other clients booking. He's always doing sweet little things for me. Love notes, flowers, chocolates. We were in the mall together and he had to get some fancy clothes for a work function, and we were at Neiman Marcus. While we were there, I saw a beautiful and expensive Carolina Herrera dress that I fell in love with. I didn't mention it to him, but he must have noticed me ogling it. Well, the next time we met, he had a gift for me, and it was that dress. Like I said, he noticed. I didn't even ask him for it. He just picked up on it and got it for me. I don't need gifts of expensive designer dresses or jewelry from him, but it's nice to know that I have a partner who really listens and notices things and acts on it. Been spending a lot of time at his house. I'm there on a regular basis and spend nights on my own. So much so that he got me my own toothbrush and products for me to keep in his bathroom. I know it's the early days, but we've been talking about me moving in with him when my lease expires. His family alternates who hosts Thanksgiving every year, and this year is his turn. So, while the lines were still blurred, he had invited me to come by to Thanksgiving with his family and friends. I wasn't sure at the time because I still didn't know where I was going to be. We talked about how he would introduce me, and how we would say we met if we were asked. We agreed that we would tell people we met at an online dating site. It's not like it's that far from the truth. He first contacted me through an ad I had up for a dating site. He started introducing me to everyone as his girlfriend. And I don't know, hearing it just made it sound so real, so official, like this is really happening. His family was thrilled to see him moving on from his ex, and his brother later pulled me aside and thanked me for making his brother happy again. That he hasn't seen his brother smile like that since his late wife passed, and he knew it was because of me. I know he hasn't entirely moved on yet, and I don't want to push him or rush him. I know he loved her for years and she was taken from him. I know I can never fully replace her and that she will always have a place in his heart. Her clothes are still in his closet. He still has all of her stuff. Is it wrong that I want his whole heart, though? How much time do I give him? I agreed when we started this to be patient with him because he was honest with me about not being over her death. But he wanted to move forward with me. I think Thanksgiving helped him see how his family positively responded to him having someone new in his life. I just wanted him to heal and be able to be happy with me and not feel like he's cheating on her. Is there anything I can do to help him with that? Or is it best if I just leave it alone and let him come to terms with that on his own? I'm just going to practice being patient for now and let him know that he can still love her and cherish her memory while giving me all he has to give now.
I met the bad guy for flushing my husband's leaves. I'm 33 and I've been married to my husband, 35, for 8 years. We have 2 small children, and we live in a state where the leaf is legal. And my husband has bad joint pain due to arthritis, and I've asked my husband multiple occasions to lock it up or put it away and high out of reach of the kids. 2 days ago, my kids were being awfully quiet, and I go into the room to find them evenly split this cookie amongst themselves. I recognized the packaging immediately and grabbed it. Luckily, they didn't consume any. And then I noticed his leftover leaf spread across the tray just on our desk, within reach of kids. I was so upset I pushed it all together and took it to the toilet and disposed of it. When my husband got home, he was furious, said that I flushed a lot of money down the toilet. I told him I didn't care and he should have kept it away from the kids. It was a cold night that night. He loudly complained of how bad his joints were hurting and how it's my fault. I offered ibuprofen on different occasions, said it wouldn't be an issue if you kept it away, and he got angry, said I should have just put it up then, not dumped it down the toilet. I don't think I'm the a-hole. Neglected to put it out of our children's reach, and I understand that his body hurt. Am I in the wrong for demanding that my fiance stop teaching our kids bad manners? My fiance, Lola, and I have been together for 5 years, engaged for a little over a year, and we have twins, boy and girl, 2.5. Our wedding is in 2 months. Lola usually takes care of feeding the kids in the morning since I work early, and so I never noticed this until recently. I took a week vacation from work just to spend time at home with the kids and Lola, and started to notice something that bothered me. Lola has been teaching our kids bad table manners and sees nothing wrong with it. I hadn't noticed this before, as I didn't eat this type of food for lunch, dinner, snacks, or eat it all the time, so I guess I just missed it, as I wasn't home or she fed them other things on the weekends. This morning, I was helping Lola make breakfast, and then I got the kids ready while she brought their food out for them. As they were getting ready to eat, I noticed they didn't have forks and spoons. So I told Lola that I would get them, and she said there was no need. I watched instead, and she gave the kids tortillas that she ripped into pieces, and they were using their bare hands to grab food using pieces of tortilla. I asked her what she was doing and that she should be giving them utensils, but she seemed shocked that I was concerned and said that's how they always eat. I told her that she was teaching them bad manners and making them think it was okay to just grab food with their hands. She told me that they do that anyway when they have chips or grapes or tacos and pizza, and also listed a bunch of other snacks and fast food you eat without utensils. But I pointed out that those things are usually made to be eaten quickly or on the road, like fast food, so utensils aren't needed. She said I was being offensive by calling her way of eating gross and saying it was having bad manners. But I do think it's gross to see someone grabbing at food with their bare hands like that. She said that she grew up eating like that and would always use tortillas to eat things like eggs or meat, rice, beans, and it wasn't gross because she's always made the kids wash their hands before they ate. I ended up giving my kids forks for them to eat, which they didn't want to use, which made me even more frustrated with her because now they're used to this. Lola has been really annoyed the rest of the day and wouldn't let me help her with lunch, and earlier she was walking around the house speaking to someone, probably her sister, in Spanish about me, and I'm starting to feel a bit annoyed. So, am I in the wrong?
Am I the asshole for refusing to change my wedding date even though my sister-in-law is pregnant? I'm in a bit of a dilemma and need some outside perspective. My fiance and I have been planning our wedding for over a year. We picked a special date significant to us and everything is set. Venue, caterers, and guests have saved the date. You name it. Here's where it gets complicated. My brother and his wife recently announced they're expecting their first child. We're all thrilled, but the due date is very close to my wedding date. At first, I didn't think much of it. Babies have their own timing, right? But last week, my sister-in-law approached me asking if I could consider moving the wedding date. She explained that she's worried about either going into labor at my wedding or being too close to the due date to attend. She's also concerned about travel as they live a few hours away. I understand her concerns, but changing the date now almost seems impossible. It's not just about losing deposits and coordinating with vendors. Many of our guests have also made travel plans, some even coming from overseas. My fiance and I are also emotionally attached to our date. My family is divided. My parents think I should try to accommodate my sister-in-law, considering it's a significant life event for her too. My friends say it's unfair to expect me to change everything for something that's not within anyone's control. I'm torn. On one hand, I want my brother and his wife to be a part of my special day. On the other hand, it feels unreasonable to overhaul our plans, incurring financial loss and inconvenience to many. Am I the asshole for sticking to my original wedding date?
Was I wrong for canceling all of my stepkids' tickets for our family vacation when my husband and I are still going? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I will list the source in the caption of this video. My 48 female, husband Randall, 50 male, have been together for 14 years. Randall has 4 children, 2 sons, Kyle 26, Alex 24, and 2 daughters, Savannah 21 and Cassandra 20. It's important to note that the youngest and oldest are not his biologically, but he has raised them as if they were. When Randall and I first got together, 3 of his children were in elementary school, and the oldest was in middle school. They really didn't take to me at first, as they wanted their parents to be together like any child would. I completely understood, and I gave them plenty of time to spend with their father when they were with them. I'd busy myself with shopping or visiting my own family. Eventually, we bonded and began spending time together. I'd do birthdays and holidays big for them, and got to where we would go and do our own things. When my husband worked, and he worked a lot. Here's my issue. Over the last several years now, they've adopted this sense of entitlement towards us, but mainly their father. When we go into town to visit, they rarely make time or effort to spend with us, so we typically end up doing things on our own and then coming back home. Lately, we were of the mindset that we shouldn't have to drop everything and come to them every time, especially when we know that most times they're not going to show up. And they're adults. If they wanted to see us, they can make the trip to where we live. These days, their phone calls consist of asking for money for gas, groceries, or to hang out with call from Kyle, asking if me and Dad could help fund the baby shower. It would go towards food, decorations, and the menu. I said yes and went ahead and sent him money. And he told me that in a week or so, he'd give me all the details of the baby shower and to expect an invitation in the mail. About an hour later, Randall calls me and says that Kyle called and asked him if we could help fund their baby shower. And Randall sent him money too. Randall was furious that he took both of us for money. But he left it alone and we didn't hear from any of the kids after that. Mid-March comes along and we're visiting my husband's family when his sister-in-law asked why we didn't go to the baby shower the previous weekend. We were stunned to say the least. Then sister-in-law dropped another bomb on us. The baby was born the day before the shower. Come to find out, all 4 kids and their mother agreed to not invite us to the baby shower or even to let us know that the baby was born. They just needed the money. To say I was livid would be an understatement. I sent Kyle a message a couple of days later and I congratulated him on the birth of his son, and I hope that he's healthy and adored. My husband sent a similar message. We've yet to hear back from him and we're headed into mid-June. So after a conversation between myself and my husband and the fact that I paid for the entire trip on my own, we decided to cancel their tickets for what was supposed to be our family vacation. I got a partial refund for some of the reservations that I had made, but that's okay. I'll take the loss. Last week, we got a call from the other 3 asking what dates they needed to plan for and what they should pack. And I let them know that I canceled their tickets, so they didn't need to worry about it after all. They were angry and had some choice words. I honestly feel like it's the best decision we could have made. But was I wrong for it?
I'm with Asa for letting my roommate go hungry because they cannot understand how food works. My roommate Tam and I are both
and explained that she doesn't want him during the traditions. I thought this was the end of it, and I was so wrong. I got a call asking me why I'm not family to him and that he needs to go to this tradition. I told him he is family, but this is a private moment. He called me a jerk and told everyone I'm excluding him. Now my daughter-in-law is in on it and she wants to go. That they are family, so I need to let them go. I told them no, and they are pissed. My kids are mad at their partners, and I am wondering if the family is a jerk for keeping them out.
Am I in the wrong for not apologizing for having intercourse in my own living room? I, male 28, and my fiance, female 26, are writing this together. Obviously, we're engaged, but we have lived together in my house for 2 years now. Longer than we've been engaged. I have a brother, male 27, Ryan, and Ryan has a fiance, girlfriend, mother of his kids, Erica. Erica and him met in high school and they had their first child when they were 17. They have had 2 more children since then. For a while they were separated and then together and then separated again. Honestly, I can't keep up with them. Erica is also the problem. I know I sound biased because Ryan's my brother, but everyone in the family agrees. She is not a likable woman. She's argumentative, rude, and entitled. She constantly starts arguments with Ryan or her own children at holidays and seems to think that she deserves everything Ryan has ever done or accomplished because they have 3 kids. Erica also took an especially rude attitude towards my fiance for whatever reason. My fiance wants me to emphasize this here. Erica is an effing B if you haven't gotten that. Her words, not mine. Well, with that being said, my fiance and I often babysit Ryan and Erica's kids. On weekends or at nights when they work or just whenever they need. Erica's cordial enough to my fiance when she's asking for babysitting, but other than that, they don't talk. And I think that they both prefer it that way. My fiance wants me to note here that it's not just us who have the issues with Erica. It's my sister and her own brother as well. So last week, my fiance and I went out to our favorite restaurant after work, had some drinks at the nearby bar, and went home around 11:30. We were both a little drunk in our own home with a locked door and decided that the bedroom was just too far of a walk, and we started to undress on the couch. 5 minutes later, my fiance is in a much more exposed state than I am. Suddenly, we hear keys at the front door. Like scorned teenagers, we jump up. My fiance sprints around the corner to the hallway, leaving her clothes everywhere on the floor. Luckily, I still have my jeans on, so when Erica comes in with her 11-month-old, I'm just desperately trying to hide a raging boner, but not too exposed. I can hear my fiance around the corner half laughing, half sobbing of embarrassment, and just looking at Erica like, "Since when the F do you let yourself into my house?" Erica looks at me, looks at the clothes on the floor, looks around for my fiance, and then just walks out and slams the door shut. After that, we got a spew of angry text messages. Erica told us that we were being indecent people with no class or integrity, that my fiance should still respect herself more by not being so open about her sex life, and that she will not be returning to our house with her children as it's obviously not a safe space. I asked Erica how she even got a key to our house and what she was doing coming in unannounced in the first place, and her answer was that she took the key from Ryan, and they were fighting and she needed my fiance to watch the baby while she figured everything out. She said that we would never watch her kids again. Obviously, while my fiance was pissed at basically being called a hoe, she's very hurt that Erica claims that she'll keep the kids from her. My fiance loves the kids a lot, and she really likes having them. When I saw how upset this made her, even though I think it's empty threats, I texted my brother. The texts I received from Ryan seemed like they were written by Erica, but honestly, I can't be sure. It seems that they're both now holding a grudge on what would be an issue if Erica would just stop being entitled. Ryan said that if we apologize to Erica for what happened, then likely she'll forgive us. My fiance was ready to swallow her pride and just apologize, but I refuse. I don't think we did anything wrong. So my question is, are we in the wrong, or more accurately, are my fiance and I the a-hole?
Am I the asshole for telling my wife our marriage is over if she can't accept me spending one-on-one time with my son? My wife and I each brought a child into our marriage. I have a 10-year-old son and my wife has a 6-year-old daughter. My son's mom and I were not together at the time of her passing 3 years ago. I was already dating my wife at the time and we were working on moving in together. My stepdaughter's dad is in and out of her life and hasn't been consistent in her life whatsoever. Before we moved in together, I talked to my son about it, both before and after his mom passed away. His only worry about it was that he wouldn't get to spend the same kind of quality time with me. So I made a commitment to him that I would make time for one-on-one time once a week with just him. That was good enough for him to be okay with us all living together. I communicated this with my wife at the time and she didn't have a problem with it. We actually discussed all of this before we married too, and we were on the same page. Now, 2 years into our marriage, and she's no longer on the same page as me. She's upset at the fact that one-on-one time is still one-on-one, and my son is never okay with turning it into a whole family thing. We do make time for family time as well. I do make sure that I get one-on-one time with my stepdaughter also. I don't see how this is a problem. It's once a week. It happens once a week. 1 day a week, OP hangs with his son and his son only, and she's upset that they can't be included? That's fucking ridiculous. She make time for family time. The stepdaughter gets her one-on-one time. What's the fucking issue? My wife has said that it's not fair to my stepdaughter to always be excluded from the one-on-one time with my son. Yes, it is. Because it's no fucking different than your son being excluded from your one-on-one time with her. She said that my stepdaughter gets jealous and it hurts her feelings. Jealousy has been an issue and I've always talked to her about it when it becomes known to me. But my wife said it's not okay that it keeps happening and that my stepdaughter's feelings get hurt by it. Then you as her mother need to handle that. Your daughter is jealous because her stepdad spends time with his son. And instead of you trying to fix that with your daughter, you want your husband to stop spending time with his son. You need to fucking fix this, man. My wife also said that my son doesn't look forward to one-on-one time with her like he does with me. And she feels like the time with me has made that worse because he doesn't feel like he needs her and doesn't see her as a true parent. One, I'm positive this is just a peak of how you act in this house. Two, that baby was 7 when his mother passed away. He knows who his mom is. He's trusted his dad. He's relying on his dad. It's been 3 years since he lost his mother, and you're bitching about how he doesn't see you as a true parent. How about you just try being his fucking friend? Why do you have to be his parent? Then she'll say, that's not really it. But she gets jealous too. Then she'll say, one-on-one time has made it harder to be spontaneous because if we have a busy week, I prioritize that one-on-one time, and that's true. That's something I communicated I would do before we even got married. No, you're not the asshole. I mean, I've known the entire story, but bro, I can't keep it in no more. You're absolutely not the asshole. This lady has a whole lot of fucking issues, but none of them are anything that you need to be trying to fix. Everything that she's complaining about is just her grasping for straws. She's reaching for something to bitch about. You told her what this was going to be like 3 years ago when your child's mother passed away. and you guys were getting ready to move in together, this was something that you communicated and she was absolutely okay with. But now she feels like it's creating issues. None of these issues are really fucking issues. They're all her wanting her and her daughter to be the center of your fucking universe, and you're not willing to budge and push your son to the side. You're not wrong. Not at all. The topic has become more intense because my stepdaughter was recently very upset after spending time with her dad. He made her promises previously and broke them, and it sent her jealousy of my one-on-one time with my son into overdrive. Made worse when her dad didn't acknowledge her birthday. Get this baby into some fucking therapy. Get her some therapy. Instead of trying to get your husband to neglect his son the way that your baby daddy is neglecting your daughter, get her into some fucking therapy. My wife asked me for a little while, could I at least cut the one-on-one time out for her sake? And I told her no. I told her that I won't do that to my son, and if she can't accept it and keeps trying to fight about this, that our marriage will be over. My wife lost it and tried to escalate it into a fight, but I walked away so the kids wouldn't hear. But she was still mad hours later and was still ready to fight. I told her I wasn't going to let this turn into us yelling at each other, and she needs to decide if this is her hill to die on, because for me, it is. So am I the asshole? No, you're absolutely not the asshole. Do not take away this one-on-one time with your son. It's very important to him. He opened up and communicated with you and told you what he was afraid of before you guys even got into this entire blended family situation. You committed to him. You said so yourself. You made a commitment to always have that one-on-one time with him. And for this amount of time, you've always upheld it. Do not allow your immature ass, petty ass, jealous ass wife to try to change that. We have read so many fucking stories where men allow their children, women too, to just be pushed to the side for the sake of their stepchildren. And it's absolutely not okay. Continue doing what you're doing. If she wants to fight about it, get rid of her. But do not give up that one-on-one time with your boy. That 6-year-old baby really just wants someone to love and care for her the same way that OP treats his son. She knows she's not getting that from her dad. And from the looks of it, she's not getting it from her mom either. Yeah, she gets to spend time with OP, but that doesn't stop the feelings of abandonment and jealousy from coming up when she sees him with his son. This baby is 6 years old. That's a lot of big feelings and thoughts to have for 6 years old. And instead of her mom doing what she's supposed to be doing to take care of her and help her, she's trying to get OP to compensate for it. OP's wife sucks because she's not doing anything as the mother to take care of her daughter. OP says that jealousy is something that has been an issue in their house for a while, but he's always the one to talk to the daughter about it when he, becomes aware of it. Instead of her trying to get her daughter into counseling or some type of therapy, anything, she's going to tell OP, because it makes my daughter jealous, you need to stop doing it. Or let's figure out why. Let's teach her how to navigate through these big feelings instead of expecting everybody else to accommodate for them. This woman fucking sucks. I hope OP does leave her.
Am I the asshole for giving a friend money as a birthday gift? I, 27 female, and my fiance, 27 male, are doing pretty well financially. We both went to reasonably priced colleges, have high-paying jobs, minimal student loans, no kids, and we recently bought a house. We're comfortable, but far from rich. One of our closest friends who introduced my fiance and I and his girlfriend are not on the same financial position. They frequently post on social media about rent being unaffordable, prices being too high, and occasionally even ask to borrow money on friends-only posts. It was our friend's birthday, and he was having a small party. My fiance and I had just gotten back from out of state that morning of the party. My husband occasionally travels for work, and I went with this time because it was the area I grew up in. Because of the timing, we didn't have time to shop for a gift. Honestly, I also find shopping for adult birthday gifts difficult in general. Agreed. On the way to the party, we grabbed the birthday card and put cash inside. We don't know exactly what his rent is, but based on the cost we used to spend on an apartment, we put in roughly 2 months worth of rent plus about $100 extra for groceries, utilities, or whatever he wanted to use it for. That is super generous. The card just said happy birthday and some poorly drawn balloons, nothing else. No comments about rent, finances, or anything like that. When he opened the card, he visibly looked annoyed. After that, he avoided both of us for the rest of the party and didn't say goodbye when we left. The next morning, his girlfriend texted my fiance and said that I was terrible for embarrassing him in front of everyone, that giving him money was basically announcing to the party that they were poor, and asked why we couldn't just have gotten a real gift or even a small gift card. Ungrateful much? That honestly wasn't our intention at all. We weren't trying to brag or make a statement. We've all been friends for years. He's my fiance's best man. We felt comfortable going above what we'd normally spend on a birthday gift, especially since we know they've been struggling. So am I the asshole for giving cash as a birthday gift, or was it actually embarrassing and inappropriate? That is so strange. I mean, people give other people money all the time. There's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Mother-in-law went nuts after I revealed that I had a hysterectomy 18 months ago. I don't know if I'm allowed to post links to other parts of Reddit. I'm pretty ambivalent about advice since I'm pretty sure husband and I have this in hand. Trigger warning for mentions of a traumatic birth. I posted a thread in Am I the Asshole earlier. The short of it was that my previously justy-ass mother-in-law went nuts when she found out that husband and I are thinking about becoming foster parents and that I had a medically necessary hysterectomy after the birth of mine and my husband's only child 18 months ago. She accused us of lying and said a lot more hurtful things. After this blew up on Facebook and several family members sided with her, husband and I ended up blocking her and a bunch of other family members. It's been about 2.5 weeks since the visit. She texted me earlier and asked if I was on Facebook anymore since she didn't see my profile. Quote, I miss seeing sweet girl and her toothy smile. Send me the pictures? Like, WTF, woman, you blast my medical information on Facebook, accuse me of killing future grandchildren, say that if you'd been there, you could have made us see sense, and then ask for pictures like you've done nothing wrong. My husband is pissed, and he's going to wait a couple of days before responding. Even if he verbally rips her to shreds, he wants to be a little calmer while writing the verbal smackdown. Spoiler alert, though, I won't be sending pictures. Not the killing future grandchildren. Oh my god, stop. That's funny, but not funny.
My father-in-law is insisting that I watch him every single time he has a shower. It's just as creepy as it sounds. Basically, I'm a doctor. I've been a doctor for about 10 years now, and anybody that is like a doctor or a dentist within a family knows that you are the family's private doctor. I swear to God, any tiny issue, suddenly I'm called in at an instant to someone's house. I'm also not very much of like a TMI person. Like, I do kind of tell my family and friends that you can tell me anything, but this is kind of just a step too far. Me and my father-in-law do have quite a good relationship, to be fair. We joke around quite a lot. We're quite just like natural around each other. He came to me with this problem down below once upon a time. This was maybe about a year ago now, and I did say to him straight away, like, look, if this is kind of crossing a boundary for you, just go to a normal doctor. Like, this doesn't need to go through me. I also feel a little awkward. He just insisted that it weren't that weird, and he started explaining it to me, and it sounded like a bacteria type thing. I just gave him this certain cream and I said, pop this on before you go in the shower, maybe like half an hour before. And I gave him more of like a moisturizing one. And I said, straight after the shower, pop this one on. Anyway, this thing didn't clear up, okay? It weren't going anywhere, it weren't budging. And started asking me if applying it wrong, basically. And I said, you can't really apply it wrong. Go to your doctor, because I'm not about to look at your manhood. You know, that's weird. This man then starts begging me to look down below. Where it did get a little bit uncomfortable and weird, because it sounded like he genuinely wanted me to see it. And that's when obviously I expressed to him, like, look, this is a step too far for me. Like, this is just weird. I'm not going to watch you in the shower to make sure you've applied it correctly. And afterwards, like, that's not something I'm comfortable with. Really inappropriate jokes. He started saying like, oh, you see my son's manhood, like it's nothing different. Like, he gets it from me. He's like, oh, we're probably the same size. Like, literally just begging me to watch him in the shower. Obviously, I had to kind of bring this up to my husband because it was making me super uncomfortable, and no, it's just weird. Like, why do you want me to see it so bad? Anyway, would you believe me if I told you that was 4.5 months ago, and I still get texts to this day from this man saying he wants me to watch him in the shower. He doesn't actually disclose if he still has this issue or not, literally just around watching him in the shower. Which, if you can't tell, obviously I am politely declining because that is so weird.
Am I the jerk for refusing to help my job when they were short-staffed after they suspended me unfairly? Nope. I work at a restaurant and I've been there for almost 3 years now. I'm not trying to brag, but I am genuinely their best server. I'm never late, I always pick up extra shifts when needed, and I constantly get the best reviews. Some of our Google reviews literally mention me by name. Management knows this and has told me multiple times how much they rely on me. A couple of weeks ago, I asked my manager on a Monday night if I could have my Tuesday morning shift covered. He said no problem because a new girl was coming in to train and there would be plenty of coverage for what was usually a slow lunch anyway. I said cool and went about my night. Tuesday afternoon, I get a text from the owner asking why I didn't show up. I explained exactly what my manager told me, and he said the new girl doesn't count as a real server yet and that I was responsible for finding an actual server to cover. So in his eyes, I had just no-showed. He suspended me for a week. I was pretty annoyed because I did everything right. I asked my manager and got approval, but I wasn't going to argue with someone who clearly already made up his mind, so I just said, all right, boss, see you in a week. And then I had the best week of my life. I slept in every day, watched movies, played golf, hung out with my girlfriend and friends. No alarm, no stress, no rude customers. It was genuinely the most relaxed I've felt in years. Then Friday night rolls around and my phone rings. It's the owner. They're completely slammed and short-staffed. Apparently, they were so desperate they had dishwashers trying to take tables. He asked if I could come in Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday morning, while I was still suspended. No. I told him I hadn't learned my lesson yet and couldn't possibly come in. He got quiet and said he'd figure it out. Good, go figure it out. Treat your employees right. When I came back the following week, everyone was super nice to me. Still are, actually. No one has said anything about the suspension, and the owner has been weirdly polite ever since. Am I the jerk for not coming in when they ask? No, you're not the jerk. The boss is going to have to learn a lesson. You can't treat people like shit. They're not going to help you in a time of need.
I, 35 male, was caught using AI to write wedding vows, and my partner, 34 female, walked out. What do I do? I, 35 male, recently had a wedding with my partner, 34 female. We've had a stable and happy relationship so far, and I love her more than anything in the world. The problem arose when it came to writing vows. Don't get me wrong, I love many things about my partner, but I couldn't figure out how to put them into tangible vows. I decided to use ChatGPT so I can have something well written and expressive to share at the ceremony. The thing about my partner is that she's very confrontational and no nonsense. If something annoys her, she immediately addresses it with no room for backing out. I also know that she's expressed disdain for AI in the past, but I didn't realize how far the hatred could go. I don't know how, but she immediately recognized that the vows were AI. After I had finished, she had this angry look and whispered to me, quote, "Did you use effing AI to write that?" I was quiet because I couldn't believe she had noticed that, and she was choosing to address it while we were on full display for everyone. I, 35 male, was caught using AI to write wedding vows, and my partner, 34 female, walked out. What do I do? She then said that I either speak from the heart or she walks out. I literally couldn't get any words out, and she kept her promise and walked back down the aisle, much to all our friends' and family's confusion. She's been ghosting me these past few days, which is atypical for her and honestly giving me panic attacks. Most people agree that calling off a marriage because of AI vows was an overreaction, and that maybe it was a sign that our relationship would have issues, but a few female friends have said that they would have done the same. I'm hurt and honestly just needed it to help make the day more special. Is it worth fixing? Yeah? What? I think it's worth fixing. I don't think that your relationship should be thrown away because of AI vows. I feel like, I don't know what the context is. Were you like writing the vows and you felt like they didn't sound good, so you put it through AI to like make it sound better? Or were you just like, hey, AI, help make me these vows for my wedding?
My best friend turned everyone against me, so I stole her boyfriend. Story time. So I recently started at a brand new school and I wore my favourite outfit. I had this green sweater on. I was feeling cute. Even though I was super nervous, I did make a bit of an effort to get to know people, but I think everyone was just a bit weirded out by me. And a few moments after I arrived, this girl walks in. We'll call her Amy. Amy literally looks like she could float through life in a bubble. She is pink, sparkly, but most of all, she is blonde. She started making snide remarks about me as soon as she laid eyes on me in the common areas. She was fully Regina Georging me. But the worst part of all of this was, turns out we were supposed to be roommates. At first, we did not get on. It was claws out. However, slowly but surely, things started to change. I went on a night out one time and I basically was on my own, obviously. She offered to walk home with me. And from there, we really bonded. We were no longer loathing each other. Now, here's where it gets fun. Enter Steve. So sexy. He's like royalty in our town. Amy instantly calls dibs on Steve. The little problem here is that Steve actually started to develop a little thing for me.
The chemistry was chemistrying. Now this is where Amy's jealousy really sparked up. I was always a lot smarter than her, so that was one thing. Now her man likes me. So for years, I had never had any recognition for my talents, my intellect. And finally, I ended up getting recognised by this guy. He was giving like big Jeff Goldblum vibes. He gave me this scholarship that Amy wanted, and I fear this tipped her over the edge. He basically runs like this undergrad scheme that you can be a part of. However, it turns out it was giving big MLM vibes. I wanted absolutely no role in that at all. I didn't agree with any of their practices. So who swoops in? Amy. Just swoops in on her fucking broomstick and takes my place. Amy then proceeds to go on this absolute rampage around the school, around the company, calling me a witch, calling me wicked. And because Amy is the it girl, they take her word. I literally become enemy number one. I ended up having to move schools because it became some sort of witch hunt towards me. So at this point I thought, fine, bet you want to call me wicked, I'll start acting wicked. Full villain arc mode. But here's the kicker. Amy's little happily ever after, Steve, we'd been hooking up behind her back for months. We'd skip classes together, we'd go for walks in the woods. The guy that she claimed was hers picked me. Steve just didn't want to live in a world where everything was fake, sparkly, everything was about being popular. He just wanted something real. So what do you think of this whole situation? Am I really in the wrong?
Am I the asshole for calling my sister-in-law gross? I, 29 female, and my husband, 30 male, have been married for a little over 3 months. My sister-in-law, 28 female, has always been supportive of our relationship until he proposed to me. Ever since then, she's been making comments about how I don't fit their family or how he deserves more than that. I always shrug it off even though their family adores me and my husband always asks her to stop. A bit of backstory. My sister-in-law and I used to be best friends until 8th grade, before I moved away and we lost touch eventually. My husband was adopted by her parents when she was 7 or 8, so they were pretty close growing up. I used to see him in passing, just a little high and by, but that was all. After I started college, I saw him again. We decided to talk, eventually started dating, fell in love, and now we're married. She was thrilled when we started dating. Is she in love with her brother? Because she always supported your relationship. She was thrilled when you started dating, but the moment that he proposed and it's clear that you're not going anywhere, all of a sudden you don't fit the family and he deserves better. Did she think that eventually he was going to come and propose to her? Back to the incident. Last month at a family gathering, she kept making passive-aggressive comments. My husband was on the edge the entire time, and she finally said that she thinks, quote, she thinks I look like a whore with how I dress. He snapped and they had an argument. Both of us left after that. After this incident, her best friend reached out all of a sudden and sent us some screenshots of their text messages where my sister-in-law had told her the same things. Some other things stood out to me though. Those were, he's so handsome and sexy, why would he settle for a nerd like her? Do you think he's big? He's so my type, I don't get why there's no one available just like him. And he's the best man alive. Why could he not marry someone like me? No, baby, you're absolutely not the asshole. She's talking like this about her brother. Her brother. She is fucking gross. When I showed the messages to my husband, I tried to say maybe she was being protective, but he was weirded out about those comments too, and he couldn't really say anything about the big comment. We decided we'd talk to her in person, but whenever we tried to talk to her, she'd either shrug it off or cancel plans. So we chose the hard way, and we decided to bring it up at our next family dinner. Last week, we showed her the text messages, and we asked her to explain them. It was almost a back and forth of, I'm just trying to save you trouble, you deserve better. I finally snapped and said, you're so gross for even talking about your brother like that, no matter what your intentions were. My husband said I would be disgusted if those were said the way that I think they were. At this point, she lost it. She started sobbing and accusing me of turning my husband against her. No, the fact that you're being weird is turning your brother against you. Nobody wants to be around someone that is their sister and then find out they are thinking and saying these things about them. I wouldn't want to be around you either, baby. This is all your actions that's doing this. My husband took my side and we left the dinner soon after. Both his parents and now relatives have been telling us that we overreacted and were assholes for twisting her words. Fucking how? How? How in the hell could you have twisted, do you think he's big? She wasn't talking about his height. She wasn't talking about his weight because we can see that. What the fuck was she talking about? There's no way to twist this shit. It was exactly what the fuck we think it is. I never thought of things like that, but ever since those messages, my husband and I did note that she never really dated for long or stayed in any long-term relationships. Most of them were flings, and every single one of them were eerily similar to my husband. We used to think she just had a type, but it feels completely different now. Even as a teenager, she used to make him cancel his dates, saying she needed him due to her mental health, but she always refused therapy when offered. But my husband has always been the protective older brother. She even tried to get into the same college as him, saying that she can just move in with him. He lived in a studio apartment, but she couldn't get into the college. Then we started dating. She did sometimes crash our dates or have sudden emergencies whenever we had plans. Sorry if I messed up in the writing. It's my first time. I just need some opinions and someone to tell me that I'm not crazy or overthinking it. No, baby, you're absolutely not the asshole. You're not overreacting. You didn't twist her words, and you're definitely not overthinking it. You know what the fuck you saw. You can tell simply by her fucking reaction that what you guys think is exactly that. Her family also knows whether they've seen the signs before and they're choosing to ignore it. But right now, with the shit in front of them, they know that she does not see that man as her brother. You're not wrong. You guys are not wrong. My opinion, I think you 100% need to share the screenshots with the family because your sister-in-law is in love with your husband. And it's a possibility. It may be a small possibility that they are not aware of exactly what the fuck she was saying, because how the hell do you twist, do you think he's big? Bitch, I know what the fuck you were talking about, and you know that I know what the fuck you were talking about. Girl, you need to share the messages. Share them with everybody.
My fiance threatened to break up with me if I told her best friend's husband that his wife is cheating on him. I, male 27, have been together with my fiance, female 28, for 12 years, out of which 3 years we've been engaged. I love her a lot and everything between us has been great. We do encounter problems now and then, but every long-term couple does, to be frank. The problem that we're having right now is not so much to do with us directly, but to do with my fiance's best friend. Let's call her Beth. Yesterday, while going to work, I stopped at a bakery to get some breakfast. Right across the street, I saw Beth with a guy. First, they were just talking and I didn't think much of it, honestly. I was busy getting my sandwich. I turned around and they were kissing. I got my phone and took a photo. Not the most ethical thing to do, but I thought that the husband might need it. I got home, told my fiance about it, and also shared the photo with her. She told me to delete the photo and just ignore it. I wasn't comfortable with this and told her that instead, I would tell her best friend's husband because if it was me in his position, I'd like to know too. Her concern with this is that I would really damage her friendship with Beth and that's why I should stay out of it. I disagreed and she told me that if Beth's husband found this out from me, I should consider our relationship over. Later that day, my fiance apologized to me that she didn't mean the breaking up part, but I really shouldn't do this even though that would be the right thing to do. I was still a little pissed that she would just throw away a 12-year-old relationship just to hide someone else's cheating, so I told her that I would tell the husband everything, and if she wants to break up over this, then I'm fine with that. Definitely did not mean the I'm fine with that part, but I probably just said it out of pettiness and spite. I haven't told the husband yet, but all of this has me questioning my fiance's moral values and how she thinks infidelity is okay. Kinda messed up. It's 8 a.m. right now where I live and I haven't slept all night thinking about my relationship. She did kinda double down on the breaking up part at the end if I proceeded telling Beth's husband, so I'm very conflicted right now. How do you guys see this situation? Should I tell him knowing that it might end my relationship?
My girlfriend is the one. I'm gonna marry her. My sister-in-law was a nurse who passed away during the pandemic. It destroyed my brother and my nephew. My nephew's birthday is today. My brother is working now, but he was laid off earlier during the pandemic. Our family isn't well off and we don't have a lot, and neither do my sister-in-law's parents, but we were all determined to put together something for my nephew's birthday. This is where my girlfriend stepped up. Through someone that she works with at the hospital, she got 2 tickets to a magic game. She gave them to my brother and said to tell my nephew they were from him. My nephew is a huge Magic fan. The game was yesterday. It was only a preseason game. The Magic aren't a great team and the seats weren't the best in the house, but my nephew was over the moon. Today, he's so excited and happy. He won't stop talking about the game. It's like how he was before my sister-in-law passed away. Instead of taking all the glory, my girlfriend is letting him believe my brother bought the tickets and that her gift to him was a Lego set. My brother, my parents, and even my sister-in-law's parents, they've told me today not to let her get away. But even before they said anything, I realized that I want to marry her. This is the sweetest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, y'all know I love the feel-good stories. And the best part is, OP gave us an update 3 years later. My update is the title. I did marry her. I totally forgot about posting here until I tried signing up for an account and realized my email was already used for one. My post only got a few comments, but I do appreciate them. I knew my wife was the one after what she did for my nephew and brother. Our relationship was still new, so obviously I didn't propose immediately. But after that, I knew. We got married in August, and it was honestly the best day of my life. My nephew is doing great. Obviously, he misses his mom, and that will never go away. We all miss my sister-in-law. I really admire my brother. If I lost my wife, I would never be able to get out of bed. I know losing my sister-in-law destroyed my brother, but he gets up every day and keeps on living. It's not exciting or anything like some of the posts here, but that's my update. It doesn't have to be exciting. It's heartfelt. Honestly, sir, you met the love of your life and you knew immediately because she's an absolute fucking gem. Thank you for coming back and giving us an update. I vaguely remember reading this story years ago when OP first posted it.
Am I the arsehole for refusing to pay my mother-in-law back for a gift I never asked for? Storytime. So my mother-in-law recently bought us this brand new coffee machine. I was a little bit confused at first because we have a coffee machine and it wasn't broken. It worked just fine. But whatever, it was a really nice coffee machine, so I accepted. We got it all set up. It looked really, really nice on the counter. But then, as she was leaving, she was like, oh, by the way, can you just send me the 30 quid, by the way? And she goes, well, I'd only been planning on putting 50 quid down for the coffee machine. However, it cost me £30 extra than that, so you're going to have to pay that second 30 quid. Not quite sure that is how gift giving work. She must have sensed my confusion because she looked at me, she's like, I don't mind paying more, like it's not a problem, I just want you to be happy. I said, well, clearly it does if you're asking me to pay this extra £30. She's like, well, you know, it's just more a matter of principle than anything. And then she left. When she left, I thought, oh, maybe she's just gonna like let it go or something like that, but God, was I wrong. Because that night, she texted my husband and was like, hi, I'm still waiting for my 30 quid. If you don't send it to me within the next few hours, I'm gonna come and retrieve the coffee machine. So I text her back like, Bertha, you are not getting £30 from me. That is not how presents work. Guess who's got an issue with this? Steve. Steve has an issue with this because he has now become attached to the coffee machine, whatever that means, and that I should just pay up and give her the amount of money. Will you pay it then, Steve? Steve's story is arse because he said, well, it was a gift to you, so therefore you need to pay. Sorry, does no one in this family have any idea how giving gifts works? He said, I'm being incredibly selfish, I'm making it way harder than it needs to be, and I should just hand it over the money. So what do you think I should do?
My husband wants a divorce. How do I tell him I'm pregnant without being manipulative? You just say, hey, I'm pregnant, by the way, let's sign those papers. So recently, my 32 female, husband 53 male, Jordan, told me he wants a divorce. As a bit of background, my husband was a family friend, and after a bit of messing around, I ended up pregnant with our daughter, 14 female. 14? That means you were 18 and he was 29? No, 39? Ew! 18, 39? Yes, I'm saying ew. I don't think age gaps are bad later on in life, but 18 and 39 is predatorial, basically. And you were 18 when your daughter was born. You may have been 17 when you were pregnant, because you're pregnant for like 10 months. Why am I marrying so many of these old men prying on these young, innocent girls? We ended up having a good old shotgun wedding, courtesy of my highly religious family. The topic of families came up afterwards, naturally, and we both made our stances clear. Jordan wants a big family and always has. I'm talking mother, father, 7 children, and a dog type deal. Meanwhile, I wasn't super opposed to the idea of 1, although I felt 7 was a bit much. Anyway, life goes on as we settle into newly married life. He gets a promotion and is working longer hours. We decide I quit my job to start caring for our daughter full time, so we can save more money from our daycare costs. And when she turns 5 and starts kindergarten, we decided to start trying for another child. Well, roughly 2 years into this, with no results, I get cancer. We put the family thing on hold and I opt for treatment. My doctor did warn me that the chemo drugs I was on had a high risk of causing permanent changes to my fertility, but we decided to go through with it anyway. Please don't tell me this man is leaving you because you couldn't have more kids. And you had cancer. There was a rather scary period of time where it looked like treatment was making it worse, but I managed to pull through. Shortly after, me and Jordan get back to family planning. Unfortunately, in this time, it very much seemed like the infertility risk hit, as I couldn't keep a pregnancy. The few times I did get pregnant usually ended with a miscarriage, with the one time I made it to full term ending in a stillbirth. Well, after a few months of this, he tells me that he's sick and tired of getting his hopes up, only to be let down, and that if I get pregnant, I should just not tell him until I was 3 or 4 months along, since the risk of miscarriage would go down significantly then. I agree and follow this rule. Pause. That is the most shittiest behavior I've ever seen in my life. Imagine telling your wife, like, hey, I'm so tired of you not being able to hold a pregnancy. I'm distraught. I'm emotional, so you can go through those miscarriages alone. So let me know when you could actually carry one, and then we could talk. As of last month, I noticed that Jordan became distant to hide it and trap him into paying more money for a child he wouldn't be aware of. Can anyone help me out on the best way to tell him without it coming off this way? You need to focus all of your energy into your pregnancy, okay? You 1000% let that man find out in court from your lawyer to the judge. Cut off the communication with him. That's his problem. He had no problem giving you divorce papers while he was at work. Make him feel stupid when he goes in the court and he sees like, oh my god, she's pregnant. She can have it. No.
Am I in the wrong for saying you should have thought about that before you procreated? My ex and I have a 13-year-old daughter, Nicole. Nicole has several medical conditions that require a lot of attention. She'll need some sort of in-home assistance for the rest of her life. While we have an aide to help a couple of days a week, it's still a challenge. The outcome of Nicole's condition became clear when she was 2. At that point, my ex and I had agreed that we wouldn't have more kids because it wouldn't be fair to anyone. There'd be no way that we could focus attention on 2 kids. Someone would lose out in this situation. We divorced when Nicole was 5. We originally had 50-50 custody. 3 years later, my ex remarried. His new wife, Callie, is nice. My ex did say that she didn't understand the severity of Nicole's condition. I figured there was a learning curve. Eventually, Callie basically said that she wanted to be hands-off, which I respected, though I wondered how it'd work considering Nicole lives with them half the time. Last year, my ex and Callie had a baby. I was a little surprised given my ex was always firm on not having more kids, but figured it wasn't any of my business. He did begin to complain that it was a lot of work juggling Nicole and the baby. I sympathized but really didn't know what else to say. Recently, the venting got worse. He said that Callie yelled at him for taking Nicole to her physical therapy appointment instead of helping her with the baby. He brought up potentially having Nicole stay with me more. I wasn't entirely shocked, but it pissed me off. I said Nicole was his daughter. He can't just abandon the responsibility. He asked what he was supposed to do about the baby. I said, maybe you should have thought of that before you procreated. I mean, really, we discussed this 10 years ago as why it'd be hard to juggle 2 kids. Why did you think having another one would be a good idea? He got quiet and said that Callie wanted a baby. I said that isn't enough of a reason and maybe he should have thought harder before bringing more life into this world. The conversation ended with me saying that I'd call my lawyer and we could arrange for him to have less custody as I'd rather have my daughter be properly cared for than to be viewed as a burden. Callie called me that night very upset that I had made my ex cry and that I said her baby shouldn't exist. That's not what I said completely, more that they didn't think it through. She called me a jerk. So, am I in the wrong?
I just have a confession I need to get off my chest. I am not in love with my husband anymore. He is the father of my child and the provider of all of our finances, but I really can't stand him. I'm staying in this marriage because I have no other option. I have no connection to him emotionally. I resent him. I gave up my career to be with him. I wasted my youth on him, and I left a very privileged life to be with him. Don't get me wrong, I'm still privileged financially, but I hate that I'm married to someone that I don't love anymore. Try couples counseling. Maybe you guys can reconnect. Maybe the resentment of you having to give up your career to be with him is causing all of this hate and hatred towards him. I say, if he isn't bad to you, work on it. Get a counselor. Sit down and talk, communicate, try to figure out a way for you to actually love him if he's not mistreating you. I'm sorry. That wasn't not what anybody wants to read, ever.
Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister apologize to my fiance so she can be in our wedding? I, 27 male, have 5 siblings, and one of my sisters, Ava, 26 female, has been awful to my fiance, Reese, 27 female, ever since they met. The biggest thing is transphobia, and Reese isn't even trans, but Ava made up her mind when they met that she was. She's made some really awful comments about Reese being a dude, about Reese needing more hormones to make her sound more feminine because she does an awful job of it, and just other awful comments like that. Ava makes most of these comments made on the fact that my fiance has a traditionally male name, even if the spelling is more popular for girls, and her voice isn't as gentle and soft as Ava thinks it should be. We ended up cutting Ava out because of this. I told her to stop, I set boundaries, and Ava refused to respect them. Now we're engaged. The issue has come up because all of my siblings are in the wedding, and Ava's upset that she's being left out. My parents told her to try and apologize, so she reached out to ask if we would let her be in the wedding if she apologizes. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Because the only reason you're apologizing is because you want something, not because you actually regret being, being the nasty person that you were being or treating my fiance like shit. You're not doing it because you truly regret your actions. You're only doing it simply because you don't want to be left out of something. No. She said that she wanted to go back to normal. I told her that I wouldn't believe her apology after all this time, and I would see it as her having FOMO, fear of missing out. She told me that it's not fair and it's been over 2 years. I told her she had 2 years to try and make amends, period. That just goes to prove that you're only doing it because you don't want to be left out. It's been 2 years, and if you really felt that bad, you would have 100% spoke up about it before now. My parents think I'm being too hard on Ava, and I should let her apologize and find a way to move on. They said that Reese can surely say what kind of apology she would need to be able to move on from this. Reese told me she's glad that I took the stand because she doesn't want to be the bad guy within the family. But also, she's not over the way Ava spoke to her and the things that Ava would say about her. Reese's brother is trans, so we're also aware that if Ava would speak that way to her when Reese isn't trans, that she would absolutely say things to my future brother-in-law. Ava is pissed that I won't give her a chance, and my parents are siding with her more than I would like. They say that I should be willing to move on. Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. You are not the asshole. Your sister is only doing this because she doesn't want to be left out. Your sister is going to be embarrassed when people ask why she wasn't a part of the wedding and you guys are truthful. She doesn't want that to happen. Your sister is trying to save face, and I absolutely love the fact that you're not going to bend to your parents' pressure. I love that you're standing firm on this. Do not allow her to be a part of your wedding. I wouldn't even allow her to come because your bride-to-be has a brother that is trans. I wouldn't even give my sister an opportunity to look in his direction, to breathe his fucking air, because she doesn't deserve to. You have been nothing but nasty to my fiance. You do not get to be here and watch us celebrate the happiest day of our lives. You don't deserve that. Why would I want you to celebrate me if all you've done is be nasty to me since you've known me? Hell no. Bro, you are not the asshole at all. Your parents fucking suck though, because they know that their grown-ass daughter is doing this shit simply because she don't want to be fucking left out. They fucking suck. They fucking suck too. I'm so sorry, but I'm very proud of you for setting your boundaries and standing firm on them.
A person from my work, Jessica, saw how I store my eggs. Like most people I know, on the counter and not in the fridge. She went nuts and told me I should not eat non-refrigerated eggs ever. At work, we often bring in food to share. I brought in a potato and egg salad. A work friend quietly told me that Jessica was telling people in the kitchen to not eat my food since she saw that I do not care about food safety. I explained loudly in front of everyone that the issue was that I do not put eggs in the fridge. Colleagues laughed a little about it since that's how most people do it. They continued to eat my salad. Another person from work, Nicole, came up to me later and told me I should not feed others risky food without informing them. It's the first time I heard about people freaking out about storing eggs. AITA? Oh, what? This isn't the Egg Podcast!
I genuinely need to know what the fuck is wrong with half of you. I get so many wild DMs being like, Livy, he basically fucked my best friend. What would you do? What do you mean, what would I do? Livy, he texts me maybe once a week. What would you do? You kidding me? These things, I'm these men are treating you like absolute fucking shit, and you're asking me what I would do? I'd walk the fuck away. I'd find somebody who actually knows my worth. I don't give a single fuck about the love connection that we have or how deeply I care about this person. If they don't value me, my self-worth, my time, my energy, get the fuck out of the way. It baffles me. It's he cheated, but I love him so much. Newsflash, when somebody cheats, you don't automatically stop fucking loving them, but you have to love yourself more. That's what it comes down to. It's I get so many DMs oh my god, I'm in this horrible situation, he's doing all these horrible things. And guess what, bitch? You're allowing it to happen. It's seeing 5 other girls and never text me, I never hear from him. Babe, you're a pen pal, or you're just a fuck to him. At the end of the day, walk away. Why would you even want to put yourself in that situation? Love ain't enough, bitch. Love is not enough for me to be treated like shit. constant excuses that you're making for his pathetic actions, let me tell you something. He doesn't look dumb at all. If anything, he looks like a fucking genius. You look stupid. You're sitting there making excuses for his disgusting behavior. That's on you, bitch. I just need to know, like, when as a society did we start normalizing all these massive red flags and just accepting it? It's like, Livy, what would you do? I would quite literally punch him in the head and walk away. Okay, I wouldn't punch him in the head. I'd walk the fuck away. I'd be like, oh wait, I know my self-worth and I love myself too much to be treated like shit from an absolute fucking loser. I'm gonna walk my ass away. Stand the fuck up. I'm baffled half the time. I'm absolutely baffled. Bitch, love isn't enough. Like, have we ever heard of respect? Have we ever heard of respect? I hear these situations that these men are doing and I'm like, God knows not to put me with a whack-ass motherfucker, because like I just genuinely couldn't handle it. I really couldn't. Keep me single until there's a respectable person out there who's actually going to treat me with respect. And it's like, the crazy thing is like, what would you do? If you have to ask me what I would do, just know you're in a fuck situation. You never go to someone asking for advice like, okay, what would you do if you love this person so much? You guys, I have such a healthy relationship with him. I love him dearly. He treats me like a fucking queen. Well, you're not asking me what I would do because you're like, oh wait, no, I'm just living my best life. This person loves me. You don't need advice on that situation, but you need advice with the whack-ass motherfuckers. Like, check yourself, honestly. It's getting to a point where like, I can't be nice anymore. Like, I'm not here to be nice. I'm here to be honest. What are you doing? You look dumb. When did we stop loving ourselves? Or when did we not even start loving ourselves? Like, what the absolute fuck is happening? Just know I'm coming from a place of love. Like, I really do want the best from all of you. So you need to stand the fuck up and wake up. Because, like, this ain't it.
Am I the asshole for reporting my friend to CPS? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 33 female, have been close friends with Kate, 34 female, for 15 years since our children were babies. She has Joe, 15 male, and I have Sue, 15 female. She has no other children, but I have a total of 5 kids, all much younger than Sue. When Kate and I first met, we were both working for minimum wage and struggling to raise our babies alone. It was really hard for the both of us. Our children are very close friends, pretty much viewing each other as siblings. Kate and I were roommates for 6 years, and that ended on good terms when I moved in with my now husband. We talk almost every day, and she kept telling me over the last few months that she was really, really depressed. I've been as supportive as I could, but I'm raising 5 children and don't always have time to be as present as she needs. Last week, I offered for Joe to come stay with us during fall break so Kate could focus on self-care and so he and Sue could spend time together. Joe showed up absolutely filthy. He smelled like he hadn't showered in months and his clothes had animal pee on them. I gently told him he needed to shower and asked him what was going on, and he said he forgets to shower and that they haven't had a working washer in a long time and that their cat pees on things. Over the course of the week, he told me that his mom does nothing but smoke and cry. He said she never makes him meals and that he just lives on whatever he eats at school or gets out of the pantry. And that sometimes when there's no food, he steals her credit card when she's asleep and walks to the corner store and gets himself candy for dinner. I talked to Kate and she said she was doing her best and asked me if I can help clean her house. I told her I can't because of my kids. She then asked me for money for a housekeeper or a new washer. I said no. She then asked me if I would take custody of Joe because she's too depressed to care for him. I again told her I have 5 kids and my husband would not agree to that. I decided to call CPS and told them everything. They told her she has 10 days to clean her home, comply with mental health therapy, buy groceries, and get Joe into counseling or he will be placed in foster care. She said that I should have actually helped her instead of reporting her. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my husband I don't care what his preferences are? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 22 female, don't shave anything but my face. My husband, 23 male, also shaves nothing but his face. I don't shave mostly because I don't think I should have to. If my husband only has to shave one part of his body, then so do I. But it's also just such a hassle. It takes time in an already long shower. I have very long, very curly hair, and I don't want to do it. I used to shave very early into our relationship, but as we got comfortable in our domestic life, I was able to sit back and take a look at what's important to me. Shaving is just not something important for me to do. The other day, out of nowhere, while we were watching TV, my husband asked me why I don't shave. I really thought this would be a one-day type of thing, so I just said that I didn't think I'd have to. He asked me this before, and I always gave him the same answer. It's not that I never shave. I'll shave occasionally during the summer when I don't want to deal with his friends asking me about it. I also trimmed my bikini line as well, but I was confident around my husband. When it was just the two of us, I felt comfortable going to the beach without shaving. Anyways, our conversation continued. We had a lot of back and forth, mostly consisting of the same thing in different wording, but I think his true intentions came out after a while. He told me he prefers shaven legs and that it's unattractive when women's legs aren't shaved. That totally broke me down. I felt ugly and gross, but also very angry. Out of a very emotional response, I told him that I don't care about his preferences for my body. I also said that I have preferences for his beard or his hair, but I wouldn't be upset if he decided to go against that preference. I told him it's fine to have preferences for my body, but to keep those preferences to himself because I don't want to hear them. He got really angry and yelled at me, asking why he can't voice an opinion, but I think that some opinions need to be kept out of view. He apologized at the end, but I feel like such an asshole. He came to me crying because he felt so bad because he hurt my feelings. So am I the asshole?
My husband's ex-girlfriend is dying. Her last wish is to be with my husband. As the title goes, my 30 female husband's ex-girlfriend 33 female was recently diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer, and her last wish is to be with my husband 35 male. My husband, let's call him Seb, and his ex Tanya became best friends after their breakup a couple of years ago due to her infidelity. They were together for 5 years. Needless to say, they remained in contact even before he met me. I would be lying if I said it never made me feel uncomfortable even once. It did, and it still does, because Tanya is still in love with my husband. She never denied it, and in fact would even call or message me when she couldn't get a hold of Seb. Aside from cancer, she also has some mental health issues, thus my husband would always tell me to be kind and patient. Seb is no longer in love with her, of course. She cheated, and Seb swore that he will never get back to her and that he only sees her as family. 2 weeks ago, my husband received a call from Tanya to tell him about the sad news. My husband cried with her and told her everything is going to be okay. They were on the phone the whole day. I forgot to mention that Seb and I moved to Australia a few months ago because of my job, and Tanya is in Canada. They mostly talk via long-distance calls or WhatsApp. They've been in contact almost every day since we left, which always bothers me, but what can I do? After that call, my husband told me everything. To be honest, I felt bad for her, and I genuinely feel sad. I asked him what's going to happen now. Seb told me he's going back to Canada, which is a shock. Then he told me that her last wish was to be with him. I didn't see anything except, what about me? He said if I can't leave my job, then he's going to visit me whenever he gets the chance. I walked out without saying anything. Wait. This is your husband? And he's leaving you to go spend time with a dying woman? Wait, that doesn't make sense.
Am I wrong for telling my father's affair partner that she married him and she can take care of him? My father was not a very warm and caring father when my siblings and I, all in our 20s now, were young. I'm the youngest and was only 8 when we all found out that he was having an affair with a woman he worked with. The affair only came out because the affair partner grew tired of our father staying married to mom and showed no signs of being willing to divorce her. So she decided to tell our mom the truth, and my mom was completely blindsided. She knew he worked a lot, but he was always an attentive spouse and pretended that he cared about us. Their marriage fell apart and we moved out and started new, but my father fought for shared custody. His affair partner threw herself into the role of stepmom and acted like she was some new person with no history with our family. She even ignored the fact that she destroyed our mom's heart right in front of us. We did not like her, and within 2 years, she told our dad she didn't want us around because we made her feel like an unimportant mistake. Am I wrong for telling my father's affair partner she married him so she can take care of him? She was bothered by the fact that none of us would acknowledge her as our father's wife or stepmom. And when asked, we would always say she was our father's affair partner. So anyways, we had no contact with our father for more than a decade, and I'm now 22. Recently, the affair partner made contact to inform us that our father suffered several health complications and is now ill and disabled. My oldest brother confirmed this is true and is aware of the hospital he's currently in. None of us had any interest in seeing him, and we expressed this, though not to her, our father's side. She decided that my siblings would never give in, but she knew a much younger me had a hope for a better relationship with my dad. So she told me she couldn't care for him and the 4 young children they have under the age of 7, and my family needs me. I told her clearly they're not my family and she married him, so she's responsible. Her response was full of anger, and I ignored her, but she again insulted me and claimed I was sick and cruel.
Hi everyone, not sure if anyone remembers, as it's been a few months since my last update, but I originally posted earlier this year about my husband Joe accusing me of financial infidelity because I had spent some of our own fun money savings within our agreed upon personal spending limits on a gaming PC and a home office setup, which then devolved in him unfairly accusing me of slacking on my personal appearance, career, and housework, and soon it came out that he had been having an affair with a coworker, Amy, who had become pregnant. We separated right after he moved out and in with her. So that was what happened. We had one of the best episodes going through her update. So She's saying this is her last update. We'll see if that's true, but she said this is her last update. So he said, last time I updated, we had thankfully quickly agreed on a divorce settlement that allowed me to protect my most important assets, and I had just met with his mistress Amy at her request, at which time it was made clear that he had lied to her about numerous circumstances, such as that our home belonged to him. It did not. I inherited it from my grandmother. That I was an underemployed high school dropout drug addict. I'm not. I have a master's degree in a high-paying tech job. That we've been separated in spirit for years. Also not true. I didn't know anything until he blurted out the news about his affair over the summer. And that he had a vasectomy. He did not. We talked about it, but he had decided not to, despite us, him in particular, not wanting kids. I told her the truth and even provided as much evidence as I had on me, but she didn't seem to believe me and went on home to Joe. I know quite a few people have been reaching out for more news, but I wanted to wait until my divorce was finalized to avoid risking any complications. And also, I thought it'd be best to let things settle for a bit. The good news is, I'm now divorced. Woo! The final decree came through a few weeks ago. It actually all went very smoothly. I'm eternally grateful to live in a mutual consent divorce state that allows divorcing couples to proceed quickly if they can come to an agreement on finances and property. On the Joe-Amy front, after my last post, all was quiet for a couple weeks. Until Amy, her due date quickly approaching, reached out again to ask if I'd given more thought to her offer to pay me $17,000 to vacate the house quickly so that she and Joe could move in.
$17,000 for a house?
Yeah. Again, this is a house I inherited that I own free and clear, but Joe told her he owns it and that he was just giving me time to get my finances together before evicting me. At this point, I decided to package up a lot more evidence of Joe's lies to send on to Amy. I sent her a copy of the deed and property tax records showing the house is in my name only. I sent her copies of my diplomas to prove I am not a high school dropout. I sent her some info on various professional associations I'm involved in and awards I've won to show I actually do have a senior level job and am not underemployed, as well as proof of my income. I sent her copies of all my drug test results for the past 5 years.
Wow.
I have a drug-free workplace and have to test 2 to 3 times a year to show I'm not an addict.
Receipts.
I sent her time-stamped photos and text exchanges to show that Joe was still having a romantic relationship with me until July this year. Nothing salacious, just photos of us showing G-rated affection, exchanging loving words over text. I found a text exchange from a couple years ago when we last discussed him potentially getting a vasectomy with his final decision to not proceed with one. A couple of days later, she responded. She believed me.
Woo! Whoa.
However, in the end, it didn't matter as Joe convinced her that he had lied for very good reasons.
Oh my God.
The way they both tell the story, they met at work and were incredibly drawn to each other in a way that felt inevitable. However, due to Joe being married, he felt that if Amy knew he was, to that point, happily married, she would either turn away from him and miss out on the love of a lifetime, or she would go ahead with an affair but be consumed with guilt. So to avoid either of these outcomes, and especially to save Amy from guilt, Joe decided to create an alternative narrative in which he was in a marriage that had ended for all intents and purposes years ago, in all ways but legally, because I was an uneducated addict who kept relapsing and couldn't get my life together. That way, she could essentially believe he was single. Unfortunately, Amy said she understood and forgave him immediately. With a baby due any day, I suppose I can sort of understand the desire to justify the lies, even though the reality is horrifying. I suppose it's also not my problem anymore. Amy did have her baby over a month ago, and I guess she and Joe will make whatever life together, or not, is meant to be. As for me, I'm doing very well. Actually got a big promotion at work, not managing people, which I don't want to do, but we'll be working on higher profile projects with a 40% raise.
Whoa.
Which starts after the new year. The house is really big for just me, so I have a couple roommates now.
Hey.
A friend who is going through a divorce moved in, as well as a younger cousin who moved to the city for work. We're all having a lot of fun together. I'm not ready to date yet, but getting there and looking forward to whatever new adventures this life has to offer. This will probably be my last post as the saga of Joe and Amy, or at least my role in it, is finished with us legally divorced and having no ongoing financial or other ties. The best thing I can do is to leave them to their own story and go on with my Joe-free next phase. Thank you for all listening to my story for much of 2023. I do truly appreciate the support and helpful advice I received along the way.
Am I the asshole for naming my baby after my ex's new baby? I am currently 26 years old. I have an ex who is 28 years old. We were together for 2 years when I was 22 all the way to I was 24. I thought I was gonna marry this man. He was honestly my first boyfriend. Serious relationship, and I really loved him. We were each other's best friend. So we wanted to have a baby together. We had the names picked out. If we had a baby, we were gonna name her Esperanza or Star. He loved both of those names. If we had a boy, we chose that he was gonna be named after him. I was never the type to trap anyone. I believe that if it was our time, it was going to be. Both of us agreed that we weren't ready at this time, and we were both okay with it. We ended up breaking up because he wasn't working. He just didn't try hard enough, and I know I didn't want that for myself. I was going to school and working at the same time, so there was no excuse for him as a man. He ended up moving on and got into a relationship. I moved on as well and still haven't had children. Photo part 2.
10 years ago, I ended up falling pregnant with my daughter, Katie, during a drunken hookup with a friend. My baby daddy, Mark, began to date his now long-term girlfriend, Jen, 4 years ago. Jen fell pregnant, and I have been as supportive as I can without crossing any lines. 3 days ago, Mark and Jen had their daughter. They named the baby Katie. I asked them if they named the baby after my daughter, trying to understand the logic behind it. But his girlfriend said no, it's just a pretty name and she liked it. I then asked if they plan to use a nickname or a middle name when addressing her on a daily basis, and her response was that she didn't see a need for that. I then told Jen that I found this creepy and told Mark he was spineless if he was happy to go along with it. AITA?
I would love to be a fly on the wall. For the first time, it's Jen and Mark at home with both of them. Katie, yes? And they both turn their heads around like, oh, geez, we goof.
I accused my wife of cheating and asked for a paternity test for our 3 kids. Man. Basically what the title says. My wife has brown hair, so dark it looks black, blue eyes, and a skin tone that is a couple of shades darker than tan. I have black hair, dark brown eyes, and a skin tone a shade darker than my wife. We have 3 children, 2 boys, 6, and a little girl, 3. None of them look like me or my wife. My boys have brown reddish hair, hazel eyes. My girl is a dark blonde with light brown eyes. They are all on the lighter side when it comes to skin tone. I didn't think anything of it at first. Both me and my wife have some interesting heritage, but from the birth of my sons, my family kept bringing it up to me. They would point out the facial features all the time. Where does that chin come from? Look at those cheekbones. That boy stands as straight as a ruler. Who has hair that straight? Things like that. I shut them down or ignored it all. I never paid any mind to them. Then an old high school friend of my wife was in town. He was only in town for a couple of days, so there wasn't really time for my wife to meet him for lunch or anything because we had a lot going on. So my wife invited him to our girl's 3rd birthday party. He wasn't at our wedding and I never met him before, even on previous visits. He was always in and out. Sometimes my wife could see him, sometimes she couldn't. Then there he was. This tall white man with dark blonde hair and hazel colored eyes. He and my wife were obviously close. They hugged for a long time. The whole time he was there, he was wherever my wife was, and me and my family watched them. If she was putting more food out, he was there helping. If she was collecting stray plates and cups and trash, he was there giving a hand. The whole time he was there, they were laughing and talking. She introduced him to those who didn't know him, but it was obvious he wasn't there to socialize. He just wanted to talk to her for the time he was there. A couple of hours later, it was time for him to go. My wife walked him out. They had another long hug before he climbed into his Uber and left. My mother and sister were in my ears from the moment they laid eyes on him. I didn't need to hear their suspicions. I had plenty of my own rocking around in my head. I'll spare you all the gory details of my behavior in the weeks following my girl's birthday. I'll only say I wasn't a pleasure to be around. My wife doesn't like drama, doesn't like conflict. She likes to talk things out. That doesn't mean she'll back away from the conflict and avoid drama at any cost. Only that she prefers to work things out calmly. So in the middle of me picking an argument with her, when I finally outright accused her of cheating, accused her of passing those kids off as mine and demanding a paternity test, I did not expect her to come back to me as hot as she did. She said she had been waiting for the day I would throw this at her. She had not been blind or deaf to what all of my family had said and done over the years and my allowing it. But she had hoped I had more trust in her than to listen to people that never approved of her. People who had nothing better to do with their lives but talk BS about everyone else. I don't know why, but her saying those things pushed me over the edge. The argument grew and grew. I grabbed her by the upper arm so hard I left bruises and shook her. Her hand came up and slapped me right across the face. The police were called. I was made to leave the house. I went to my parents. A couple of days later, I went home, but the locks had been changed and my wife wasn't answering the door or picking up her phone. The following week, she filed for a petition for paternity of all of my kids. 2 weeks later, the day after I was given confirmation that they were my kids, I received divorce papers.
It's been months. I've tried calling her. I have reached out through Facebook, tried intermediaries, I've written letters. She's refused to engage. I've been told by her sister, who has been blocked by my wife, that she refuses to talk to anyone about me and is cutting out anyone who tries to bring me up. She doesn't care if they're family or friends. One word about me and she cuts them out, blocks them. Her parents are the go-between these days and only about the kids. They bring the kids to me whenever I ask for them. My wife won't allow me at the house, not even to pick up or drop off the kids. Yet she doesn't try to stop me from seeing them. Her mom told me she doesn't know if my wife will ever forgive me. She's deeply hurt and absolutely refuses to speak about me. I try to give them money for my kids every time I see them, but they refuse it, saying my wife doesn't want my money. A mutual friend has told me he thinks I broke her. He and his wife help her with the kids sometimes, and he says the life has gone right out of her. I have leased an apartment a couple of blocks away from my wife and children and have gone very low contact with my own family. Not that I blame them for what I did, but it's hard to be around them right now. I continue to blame my wife for all that's happened and take no accountability for any wrongdoings against her since my sons were born. My kids keep asking when I'm coming home and why mom cries all the time. I don't know what to tell them. I'm not looking for advice on how to save my marriage. It's too late for that. There's no getting around the fact that I've destroyed my family. I miss my kids. I miss my wife. I wish I could take it all back. I've lost her. Even so, maybe there are people here who can advise me on how to foster an amicable co-parenting relationship. Maybe help me find a way that will get my wife to accept my financial support for her and the kids. Still pay the mortgage on the house so she doesn't have to worry about that. She works, but she doesn't make enough to live comfortably. I am prepared to be vilified. My only hope is that there is some useful counsel and guidance that comes with the insults and despair. You created this bullshit scenario in your head and not only confronted her, but also assaulted her to the point of leaving bruises on her skin and imploded on your marriage. Good for her for not tolerating the abuse. You now have the proof that your kids are yours, so now accept that your relationship is over and make sure that you're paying your child support. And if she won't accept your money, then open a savings account for all your 3 kids and put it there for them when they're older. It blows my mind that people really don't understand biology. I have green eyes. My parents both have brown eyes. People are like, where did these green eyes come from? Me and my brother have green eyes. None of my parents' siblings have green eyes. None of my parents' parents have green eyes. Out of my mom's 7 siblings, out of my dad's 13 siblings, none of their siblings or their kids have green eyes. Just me and my brother. Called a genetic mutation. It happens. There's a possibility that your kids can come out. You ever see like couples like black hair, brown eyes, they have ginger babies. I've seen it. It happens. And you also said, I'll spare you all the glory details of my behavior. If this is the version without the glory details, I'm worried about what really went down. He knows what he did was wrong, right? Obviously, but still. He doesn't want people to give opinion on his marriage because he knows it's over, which good, at least you know that. He's just trying to be amicable, which I don't think she wants anything to do with you. You not only accused your wife of one of the worst things, infidelity, but you grabbed her so hard that you left bruises and wonder why she won't engage with you.
Story time about how my coworker essayed me and then got me fired. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. 2 years ago, I decided to move to LA to become an actress. Like everyone else who's trying to become an actor, moving to LA, you're probably broke. I told my parents I wanted to move to LA. They said no. But I turned 21 and I decided I'm just gonna do it. I got hired at a restaurant as a waitress and I worked for 9 months. And I was able to save around $20,000. I thought this was pretty good. My parents drove me and my things all the way to LA, were my co-signers for my apartment. I got a pretty decent apartment. As soon as I arrived, I started auditioning and I booked a small job. I paid around $500. While I was on set, there was another actress, and she was really nice. We got along, and she was surprised that I had only been in LA a couple of days. She told me that she could get me a job, and I said yes. When I tell you that everyone at this restaurant looked like a model, I am not lying. I was surprised I even got the job because I was not as good looking as everybody else. I was hired as a server, and a couple of months into my job, this new guy was hired. Let's call him Jake. Jake was incredibly hot, and he knew it. He thought he deserved every single girl, but I was pretty much an asshole to him because I didn't like that. Jake stole my number and started texting me. You have to go to part 2. Story time about how my coworker essayed me and got me fired. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. After I got hired at this new restaurant as a server, this new guy was hired 2 months later. He was the biggest asshole. He was good looking and he knew it. He started trying to talk to me, but I was a complete asshole to him. And that's when I realized he stole my number from the schedule because I started receiving text messages from him. First, he was just asking, what day are you working? Can you cover my shifts? And at first I would just give him really short answers and he clearly didn't like that. He started to call me. When I didn't answer, he kept texting. When I didn't text, he kept calling. Every time I'd see him at work, I would just avoid him. One day we were both scheduled for the closing shift. I was polishing silverware at one of the tables when he came and sat down next to me and started asking me 20 questions. Where I was from, I have a boyfriend, did I like guys, did I do things to myself if I was alone, if you know what I mean. That's when he grabbed my boobula without saying anything, just out of nowhere. He wouldn't let it go. I screamed so loud my manager came running. It gets worse. Part 3 is up. Story time. A bit of my coworker essayed me and got me fired. This is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. As this guy was grabbing my boobula, I yelled so loud my manager came running. My manager caught him grabbing my boobula. Guess what? My manager just told him to stop. And he told us that anything between us has to happen outside of work. With tears in my eyes, I said to him, I did not consent. Told him to stop. That's when my manager said, I've seen you flirting with him. You probably provoked him. I just went home and cried. Jake apologized over text. And then he asked me out on a date. He clearly did not understand that I didn't like him and that I didn't want him to touch me. I managed to survive 3 more months. Just avoided Jake and my manager. I was making at least $1,200 a week. It was too good to quit. After 3 months, the manager started giving me terrible hours. And Jake would try to corner me, try to grab my hand. And then one day I wake up to an email telling me not to come into work. My manager told me that I was fired. Weeks later, I found out Jake and my manager were besties. I found a better job. My parents think I should sue, but I think it's not worth the trouble. What do you guys think? What should I do?
Am I wrong for refusing to continue paying for my sister's rent after she went on a trip without telling me? I'm 28 and my sister, who's 25, recently got laid off about 5 months ago. She's really struggled to find another job since finding a job right now in her field has been really hard. People are getting laid off left and right, and she's currently working as a waitress while she looks for a more permanent job, but she isn't earning enough to cover her current rent. I have a pretty well-paying job, and I also share my bills with a partner, so I offered to help her cover the rent while she looks for a new job. She was extremely grateful, and together we agreed on an amount, which would allow her to cover food, rent, travel. It's important to note that all monthly expenses for food, travel, and anything else were solely on her. I didn't have any issues, and I honestly didn't suspect anything was amiss. She hates working as a waitress, so I was confident that she was doing everything in her power to find another job. The last time I saw her, she mentioned that she was picking up a few extra shifts to be able to get a good anniversary gift for our parents. So I figured she was basically living paycheck to paycheck. Fast forward to now, and I just got word from our cousin that my sister is in Paris. When I expressed confusion, my cousin sent me a bunch of screenshots from my sister's Instagram account. My sister must have blocked my parents and I because none of us could see anything on her page, any of her other posts or stories. I was very confused and then angry, because if she's living paycheck to paycheck, how on earth can she afford to go on a trip to Europe? For context, we live in Australia and a plane ticket to Europe goes upwards of $1,000. That is not accounting for food, hotel, and anything else. I was so pissed. Not only did she go on a trip, but she tried to hide it from me. I ended up sending her a few short messages, basically saying that I knew she was in Europe and that she clearly doesn't need my help to pay rent if she can afford a trip to Europe. She called me basically in tears, begging me not to cut her off. She said that she's on the trip with a new boyfriend and that he's the one paying for everything. She insisted that she still needs the money to help her cover her rent, and that she will have to move if I don't help her. I basically told her that it's her problem now, and I hung up on her. I'll admit, that was childish of me, but I was so mad. I don't know much about her boyfriend, but maybe he's a millionaire or something. But the fact that she tried to hide it from me set off alarm bells. I'll obviously have a proper discussion with her when she gets back, but for now, I'm just going to block her. Since then, she's reached out to some other family members who think I'm being too harsh and should give her the benefit of the doubt. They all seem to think I'm going to force her to be out on the streets. It seems like this will be a whole fiasco when she gets back. I decided at the very least to let her explain herself, so I decided to call her again. She said that the trip was very last minute and that her boyfriend was already going to Europe, and he offered to pay for her plane ticket so she could come. And she felt that it was too good of an offer to pass up. When I asked her about other expenses, she told me that he was mostly paying for everything else and that she only had to pay a small amount. When I asked her where she got the money for that, she got kind of defensive. But she told me that she had saved some money while she was working as a waitress, and that it wasn't fair that I was trying to judge her while she was trying to take a break, and that that's why she didn't tell me. I did bring up that he could pay her rent
But she said they hadn't been dating that long and she wasn't comfortable asking him for that. I think that he comes from a quite well-off family and that she doesn't want to come across as a gold digger. I do get it. It would be weird to ask someone that, especially if you haven't known them long. I do believe her for the most part, but I'm still clearly pissed that she didn't tell me. And that she did have some money saved that could have gone to contributing towards rent. I'm also pretty convinced that the money she said would go towards a gift for our parents was spent on the trip, which feels a bit scummy. I am standing my ground about no longer paying for her rent, but I did agree to discuss it when she got back. I will not be giving her another dime until I'm able to see her bank statements. And if it turns out she's been scamming me, not only will I not give her more money, she's gonna have to pay it all back.
My mum just slept with my boyfriend, but they both don't know that I know. And I have the ultimate revenge. Story time. So I've always been so sus of how my mum feels about my boyfriend. However, of course, I never thought she would act on it because she's my mum. Now, despite what you may be thinking, my family and my boyfriend's family, let's call him Mark, isn't weird. Like, it's not a weird dynamic. We don't have any traumas. Up until this instant, I honestly thought my family and his family was quite normal. But let's go on to how I found out because it's juicy, okay? So I came home from a work trip and I found this underwear in the washing machine that wasn't mine. Obviously I was like, oh my god, like he's cheating on me. Immediately thought that because why wouldn't I? So I asked him about it and he says, oh no, they're your mum's. So immediately I relaxed. I'm like, oh my god, okay, her washing machine's probably broken again. Like normal stuff came to my mind because why wouldn't it? And it stayed like that for 2 months. Like I was unaware of this for 2 months. And what makes it worse is they were continuing sleeping together for these 2 months. Now, how I found out about this is because my mum didn't tell me that her washing machine was broke. Now, this may seem a bit stupid. Like, why would I think she's cheating? My mum tells me everything. Like, her washing machine has honestly broke about 5 times in the past year, and that's genuinely. I knew after a little while that something was suspicious, something was off, something was fishy. Basically, 2 and 2 weren't making 4. So I just really randomly said to my mum, like, did you get an engineer out for your washing machine? Like, is it all fixed now? And she had no idea what I was on about, obviously forgot about her lie. And that made me extremely happy because I know you're lying. Obviously, I played innocent, so I was like, oh, obviously your washing machine's broke, like your stuff was at my house. Then obviously she conveniently remembered. Anyway, a little bit more digging, and obviously I did find out that fortunately my mum and boyfriend had been sleeping together for at least 4 months. That leads me on to my revenge. Thinking something big, something bold, maybe sleeping with Mark's dad. I just need to get my own back.
Will I be the asshole if I told my late wife's family that she cheated on me? Anna, my late wife, died in a car accident. Person lost control of their car and ran her over and she passed away immediately. We were both 26 at the time. It was 4 years ago, right before the pandemic. We were having a bad time as a couple. She was extremely jealous of me and also very protective of her phone. Shortly after her death, I found out I had an STD and surprise, surprise, she was cheating on me. On the day that she passed away, a guy we went to college and was kind of friends with sent her messages asking for pictures of their last encounter. And the way he talked, it seemed like it was recent and it seemed like they talked often. I was able to get in her phone and laptop, as she didn't change her passwords because she would always ask to check my phone and I would ask for hers back, so I had the password. There wasn't much because she deleted everything or hid it very well, but the most recent messages, she obviously couldn't delete them, so everything that came after her death was still there. While looking for the pictures he asked for, I found pictures of her and him in a random place at her work folders, at her laptop. In one of them, she had short hair, which she only had right after we got engaged, so she was with him for at least 3 years out of our 6 years together. I also found pictures of 2 other guys, but I have no idea who they are, and there was no messages from either of them anywhere. I messaged the friend and told him that I knew. I told him about the STD and that I won't reveal it to anyone and want it to be kept a secret forever. I asked him if anyone else knew, and he said that his ex knew, but he would talk to her. I decided that for the sake of her parents and siblings, I would pretend she was a great person and let them have their beautiful memories with her. Anna's older brother, Thomas, 34 male, is a good friend of mine to this day. I would even go as far to say that we're best friends. After 2 years of my wife's passing, I was ready to date again. Thomas said that he knew the perfect girl for me. He just wanted me to be sure that I was ready for something serious before introducing each other. It was his sister-in-law, Laura, 27 female. We knew each other only superficially, but never really talked before our first date. I fell for her quick and hard. We started dating, and about 3 months in, we were telling each other I love yous, and I told her I was going to marry her. It has been a little less than 2 years. We're engaged, and I've never been this happy. I told her all about my relationship with Anna. Will I be the asshole if I told my late wife's family that she cheated on me? I still have evidence of what she did stored away in my computer just in case, and I showed it to Laura. She cried a little and comforted me, but I assured her that I was fine and that I was over it. The problem comes with Anna's family, especially her mom and sister. Ever since Anna's passing, every time they talk about her, people want to hear me talk. They ask me about her, try to include me in conversations about her. Anna was such a good cook, right? I loved when she and you would banter. Remember? Stuff like this. I was able to get by in the beginning by saying it was difficult for me to talk about her, that I was not ready. They let me be for a while, but ever since I started dating Laura, I couldn't use the I'm not ready excuse. Her friends, sister, and mom get annoyed if I don't sound enthusiastic or depressed. Learn that it's easier to look depressed. Also, if I talk about Anna in any way that isn't portraying her as an angel that came down to earth to bless us with her presence, I get side-eyed. Thankfully, Thomas and her father are great guys, and don't push me too hard on this. Her dad is always thankful that I attend their family gatherings. As we like to talk about our field of work, he always says he considers me a son. Her mom and sister, though, they get pissy if I try to dodge the topic of Anna, and the sister even said it out loud once that it's obvious that I didn't love Anna. She apologized after, but I mean, she isn't wrong. By the end, I didn't, and sure as hell I don't now. Look, I'm over what happened. I don't feel hate for Anna anymore. I sometimes catch myself wishing she was alive just so I didn't have to pretend anymore, but also because her death was a tragedy. A lot of people loved her. Her friends organize a reunion for her birthday, and those are incredibly hard. And even though I know her affair partner will be there, I go because I know how much she meant to those people. But this is all starting to get to me because it's affecting Laura. I can't say I love her in front of these people. I can't even hug her. And Anna's sister gets all moody. Her best friend stopped speaking to Laura. They were also friends. Anna's mom even came to us at Thomas's birthday party last week and asked us to stop dancing to respect her grief. She also contacted my mom and Laura's parents to say that she was incredibly disappointed that I proposed to Laura so soon, saying that we are moving too fast. It's been 4 years. Even if she wasn't a cheater, more than enough time has passed. I'm just over it, and I'm seriously considering telling them all what happened, just to get the weight of my back. Will I be the asshole if I did this?
Am I wrong for canceling my vacation because my sister is sending her kids? So we've been planning a family vacation for months, and this would be my first vacation in 15 years. So it's kind of a big deal. Well, I've recently been diagnosed with ADHD, and this is the first year that I've actually enjoyed going out. Well, my sister has had her struggles in her adult life, and she has 3 kids that spend half their time with my parents. They're fun kids, but they aren't exactly well-mannered. They don't listen unless it involves being yelled at or asked many times. So telling them not to do something often results in them doing it when no one's looking. Today we got together for Father's Day, and I find out that my sister isn't going on this vacation, but her children are. This honestly frustrated me quite a bit, but I wasn't going to speak my mind in front of the kids. So I decided to give it a few hours, take some rest, and then observe what I could expect. What I came to was 3 kids, ages 4 to 6, bullying all of the adults until they get what they want. And my vacation quickly began to look like I was just leaving the state to go babysit. I'm not a parent, I'm not good with kids, and I just want to point out that I don't hate them. I also don't want to spend my week trying to get a handle on 3 kids at a campground, even though I know my parents would do most of the work. So I told my parents that I wasn't going on vacation, and that I didn't sign up to watch my sister's kids. I know my mom feels terrible, and that I put her in a very, very difficult spot. My sister has a job and a boyfriend, and less free time than I'm sure she'd like. But she's no single mom with no support system. I just don't think it's right to expect someone to take your kids on vacation while you get to sit at home. Bye.
I kissed my brother's best friend last Christmas, and he tried to pretend like it never happened. Get ready with me. Let's talk about it. Growing up, I had always had a really big crush on my brother's best friend, but he was a lot older than me, and he had always had girlfriends, and like gorgeous girlfriends, and I was always obviously so jealous, and like always hoped something would happen to us, but never like thought that it actually would. So I was really surprised when I asked him to kiss me that he actually did. And it was like a full-on mutual kiss where he pulled me in. He definitely kissed me back. And I'm saying all this because he tried to full-on deny that he kissed me at all. Nothing ended up happening after that, but like I always held on hope that maybe something would happen in the future. And he had gotten this girlfriend and he was living somewhere else, and he had this like really cool job that he did, and then he got injured and him and his girlfriend broke up. So he came home and he was like in our town, and I was going to go check on him. Go to check on him, and I'm like, you know, this isn't you. Why are you acting like this? And he's just being really rude and hostile. And I'm like, are you being this way because of our kiss? Like, what's going on? And then this man looks me dead in the face and he goes, what kiss? And I was like, don't pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about. He's like, oh, you mean where you kissed me? I didn't kiss you. He's like, do you think that I didn't know about your little schoolgirl crush on me? Everybody knew about it, and I was just trying to be nice to you, and I was trying to save you the embarrassment. And I'm floored because that is not how I remember that kiss going down. And he was just really rude after that, and he was like, you might not see it now, but I'm doing you a favor. And I was just pissed because it's one thing, like if you feel like you made a mistake and you shouldn't have kissed me is one thing, but to pretend like it didn't happen and put it all on me is so wrong. That summer, I was working at my brother's brewery, and the next day he shows up and I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, I wanted to stay away. I wanted to stay as far away from him as possible. Like, look, I'm going to be working here this summer too. I'd like to apologize for last night. I was pretty harsh, and before, you know, that and the kiss happened, we were friends. Can we just try to be friends? Now, obviously, I'm still really mad, but I'm not going to make it awkward at work, and especially, like, it's my brother's place, and that's his best friend, so I really don't have another choice. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, it kind of gave me hope, because I'm like, okay, maybe we can be friends, like, maybe I can get over it. Well, that didn't happen. As we work at a brewery, I have to see women flirting with him all the time, and obviously, I was a little jealous, and I maybe embarrassed myself again in front of him and this girl he was talking to, because I did go up to them and was basically like, are you gonna work or are you just gonna stay in here and flirt? I know, I should have said nothing, not my proudest moment, but I was getting really annoyed. After that, my best friend was like, okay, look, you've been moping around. We need to go to a party, like have some fun. You need to meet somebody else, get over this guy, and like maybe you won't be so wound up when you're around him anymore. So we get ready for this pool party and we go, and I am having a really good time. I'm having a few drinks, I'm flirting with this guy, and he ends up kissing me, and I'm like, okay, like I'm down. As I'm mid-kiss with this guy, somebody pulls me back and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And the guy I'm kissing is like, what the hell? It's my brother's best friend. And then he pulls me.
I cheated on my husband with his brother and I have no regrets. Story time. So my husband, let's call him Mark, is basically just such a chauvinistic. There's literally times that I could talk about where he would have his friends round, which are boys, and I would join in on conversation because it was in my house. And he would literally say to me, calm down, the grown-ups are speaking. Anyway, if there's anything that's so important to my husband Mark, it's his ego and what people think of him, so his reputation. I just got so sick of how he was treating me that I wanted to destroy his reputation. And I just knew the one thing in this world that he was so jealous of was his brother. His brother is basically taller, better looking, richer, nicer. Just the better version, really. However, up until January of this year, he was underage. It's quite a big age difference between Mark and his brother. Why, obviously, I never went for his brother in the first place because I should have. So I actually pitched this idea to Mark's brother. Let's call him Daniel. Literally went to Daniel, explained this whole situation, how unsatisfied, annoyed, upset, angry I was at Mark, and how I just want to get him back. It won't mean anything and he won't be in trouble. I will. And he agreed. We set a night, we booked a hotel. To be honest, it was great. However, the one issue here is that was in July and we've been sleeping together ever since. Now, obviously, I have absolutely zero regrets about doing this because my husband deserves it. However, I am starting to feel a little bit guilty because Mark still doesn't know.
Am I wrong for refusing to pay my mother-in-law for babysitting our kid? So my wife is turning 40 in 10 days, and to celebrate, we're taking a 5-day vacation. Just the two of us. It's the first time she and I have been away like this since we had our son 4 years ago. We planned this trip months ago, and my wife had spoken to her mother then and asked if she would be willing to come to our house and watch our son while we were away. My mother-in-law agreed right away. She's in her early 60s, but she doesn't have like a real job. She does do cleaning for her brother who has a few rental properties, and he pays her in cash, so it's not like she has a schedule she has to clear to stay with our son a few days. Last weekend, my wife called her mother to talk to her about the trip and to ask if there was anything my mother-in-law needed for us to stock for her, either in the house or food-wise. During that conversation, my mother-in-law stated to my wife that she would need $100 a day to watch our son. This was the first time she ever brought up wanting to get paid to watch our son. My wife was caught off guard and just kind of agreed to it. But when she got off the phone and told me about it, I got upset. I told her that her mother is taking advantage of the situation because she thinks we have no one else to help us out. I just told her that it's BS that her mother sprung this on us last minute, so close to our trip, and I don't think we should pay her anything. I told her we should call my parents instead and see if they can watch our son. My wife told me that her mother wouldn't ask her for such a thing unless she needed the money. She said that adding $500 to our vacation trip isn't that big of a deal. I told her it's obviously not about the money for me. It's just the fact that her mother is trying to be manipulative. So I called my mom and asked her if she would be able to come over and watch our son for us. And she jumped at the idea. Both of my parents are recently retired, so they have plenty of free time and would love an extended visit with their grandson. I did not explain the reason for the change. I just told them that things did not work out with my mother-in-law. I told my wife that my parents could watch our son instead, and that she should call her mom and let her know we no longer needed her to babysit. She let me know that she really didn't want to do that because her mother was really looking forward to seeing our son, as it had been over 6 months since she last saw him. I told her that if she was looking forward to it that much, she would not be trying to swindle us out of $500. I told her that if she didn't want to make the call, I would gladly do it for her. Anyways, she reluctantly made the call, and it did not go well. My mother-in-law got upset because now we were depriving her of seeing her grandson, and ended up backtracking and saying she would talk to me and see if there was something we could work out. After the call, she asked me if there was some way we could figure this out, and I just told her we're not changing anything this close to our trip. She said maybe we could offer her mother a lesser amount, but I reiterated that this wasn't about the money. It was about her mother trying to be sneaky and taking advantage of us. So was I wrong? Bye.
Am I the asshole for telling my wife forget it and going out by myself for my birthday instead of going to her fancy dinner reservation? Same rules from the last video. If you make fun of my pimple patch, you can't be my friend anymore and you're not invited to my birthday party. This has been an ongoing issue and it came to a head yesterday. My wife has OCD. She's a planner and it's extremely hard for her to just go with the flow. If we're gonna do something, she needs all the details. A while ago, she asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday. I've been burnt out from work, so I told her I just want to go to a chain restaurant around here on my day. Just a chill night out. I don't want to get dressed up or anything. She asked where and what time. I told her I'll just pick the day of based on what I'm feeling. Maybe I'll want Olive Garden, or maybe I'll want to get Chinese takeout. I expressed many times that I don't want to plan anything and just go with the day. No, you're not the asshole. You expressed many times you don't want to plan anything and just go with the day. If she planned something and then expected what she planned to happen, that's her bad. You told her what the hell you wanted to do. It's your birthday. I really just wanted to go and eat whatever I was feeling that day. This week, she asked me what time. I told her around the time when we both get home, so about 5 or 6. She was frustrated that I wasn't giving her an answer about where to eat, and I told her multiple times that I want to eat whatever I'm feeling that day. She asked if we needed reservations. I told her no, multiple times, that we'll just be a walk-in on a Wednesday to a chain restaurant. She asked if I wanted anything fancy, and I told her no, I just wanted a simple night. Listen, I get you saying that your wife has OCD and that she can't help but, want to plan these things. But does she also have a listening problem? Like, does that stop her from listening when somebody tells her that you don't want to do any of these things? Like, if her OCD cannot be refrained from doing these things while, the person is actively telling her, like, I don't want that. Maybe it's time for her to go and talk to somebody. Now, I don't have OCD, so I don't know how that works. So if it is that intense to the point that she can't help but do the one thing you're telling her you don't want to do, it's time to go and see someone. Yesterday was the issue. I wanted Olive Garden. I wanted to go home, go get my breadsticks, and then chill for the rest of the night. I came home around 5 and my wife was all dressed up. I asked why, and she said she made reservations for the fancy sushi place in the city. She said that it was a surprise and we needed to leave in about 20 minutes. Nothing has sounded so appealing to me in my life. No, that's absolutely not okay. Like, it's not okay. I told you what I did not want to do. I told you in detail what it was that I wanted to do. Wasn't enough detail for you, but I told you exactly what it was that I wanted to do. You surprising me with the exact opposite of what I told you I wanted to do is not okay. No, sir, you're absolutely not the asshole. This would irritate me. I told her I wanted to go to Olive Garden. We got into an argument about how she spent all this effort to get a reservation. So what? I'm not going to recognize your effort when you put all this effort and time towards doing something I literally told you I didn't want to do. Oh, fucking well, you shouldn't have wasted your time and your effort to do what I told you I didn't want. You're bad. I just told her I didn't want any of this. In the end, I left to go to Olive Garden by myself. We got into another argument after I got back. So am I the asshole? No, you're absolutely not the asshole. And I do love the fact that you went to Olive Garden by yourself. Your wife did not put in all of this effort for you. She wanted to go somewhere fancy. And instead of her listening to what the birthday person wanted, she chose to surprise you by putting in the effort towards something fancy because that's what she wanted. It's no different than when men buy their wives gifts, but it's something that sis has never been interested in and will never be interested in because they wanted it. I'm going to call it what it is. It's selfish as fuck. OCD or not, this is selfish as hell. OP told their wife specifically, I don't want to go anywhere fancy. No, we don't need reservations. I'll let you know the day of where I want to eat. Instead of her listening to that, she heard, go ahead and book that reservation at that fancy sushi restaurant that you want to go to. This is selfish as fuck. This is OP's birthday, but instead of celebrating it with their wife, they went alone because their wife can't fucking respect what it was they wanted to do on their birthday.
Is he screwing her? Do we know? Can somebody confirm that? Can you come back with an update and let us know if he's screwing her? Am I the jerk for refusing to help my new boss after I was the one who trained her 3 months ago? I'm 27 female, honestly just numb right now. I have been with my company for 5 years. I started as an intern and worked my way up. I know every single client, every weird software glitch, and I'm the person everyone comes to when things go wrong. I have stayed late, worked through holidays, and basically made this job my entire life. 3 months ago, my manager, M, hired a new girl. Let's call her the new girl. She's nice enough, but she has zero experience in our specific field. My manager literally told me, hey, can you show her the ropes? You're the best we have, so I want her learning from you. So I did. I spent hours every day teaching her everything I know. I even gave her my personal cheat sheets for our filing system. I thought I was being a good team player and that my manager was noticing my leadership. Well, yesterday, we had a big announcement meeting. I thought this is it. There's a senior lead position open for months, and I have been doing the work of that role anyway. My boss stands up and announces that the promotion is going to the new girl. I was stunned. She's not even finished her probation period yet. My boss's reason? He said she has very fresh and natural leadership vibes. It sounds like he's screwing her. Today, the new girl came to my desk because she could not figure out how to run the end of month reports, something I have taught her 3 times. I just looked at her and said, since you are the senior lead now, I'm sure you can figure that out. It's above my pay grade. She looked like she was going to cry and went to our boss. Now my boss is calling me unprofessional and petty, and some of my coworkers are saying I'm making the office vibe toxic because I won't help her anymore. I feel like I'm being punished for being good at my job. I'm done doing 2 jobs and getting paid for 1. Am I the jerk for completely checking out and refusing to help the person who took my promotion? No. And the comments on this really passed the vibe check. The first comment literally says, not the jerk. If she has natural leadership vibes, then she should have no problem leading herself through those reports. Your boss basically told you that your 5 years of hard work mean nothing to them. Stop training your replacement and start looking for a new job today. They're taking advantage of you, and I couldn't agree 100% more with that because, like, seriously, for him to bring in the new girl, and then promote her in 3 months when one, her probation period is not done, two, she's still in training. I mean, you don't have any job down packed in 3 months. Like, you're still learning your position, but you're learning the company, you're learning everything. Like, this doesn't make sense. There's no way in hell this person is either A, related to him, or he's screwing her.
Am I the asshole for leaving my friend at the brewery when he brought up something that haunts me? A few years ago, while on a hike with my wife, she slipped and fell. I wasn't able to get her up. For those of you who are familiar, this took place on the 14ers group out of Chicago Basin, so it was stressful. Thankfully, another man was able to get her out, but it was hours later and she had been perched on a cliff under the drop site. She's never been upset with me for not being able to get her by myself. We're both avid, experienced hikers, but I'm not a strong guy and she's a sturdy gal. The fear on her face as she fell is imprinted in my mind, and it's something that always haunts me. For that split second, I thought I would lose her forever. Not being able to help her haunts me. My wife and I were together at a brewery with some friends. One of them was talking about a trip that he planned up Como to the Blanca/Little Bear Traverse. We did that one a while back, and I had some advice for him. For absolutely no reason, he looked at me and said, "Okay, bro, I'm not taking advice from a man who left his wife to rot on sunlight. No. You're not the asshole. You said that you were there hanging out with friends. If this man is supposed to be a friend, he knows exactly how that situation traumatized you. I don't doubt that your wife is also traumatized, but from your perspective, it's a completely different type of trauma. You were physically unable to help your person. I know that fucks with you. I know it does. And this person that's supposed to be your friend threw it in your face to try to get a couple of chuckles from the people around him. I would have left his ass there too." My wife immediately corrected him, but I was stunned. He thought it was hilarious and had a huge grin on his face. I didn't know what to say, so I got up to get another drink, but ended up going outside. My wife came to find me and asked if I was okay. I was honestly very upset and said that I'd like to go. She drove us home. The issue? Our friend was expecting us to drive him home, and I didn't say anything or tell him that I was leaving. I just left. Oh well, sucks to fucking suck. This a grown-ass man. He better find his way home. It's gonna be a long walk for you, buddy, or you better pick up your phone and call somebody. He texted me, "Where the fuck did you go? And why are you ignoring me?" Stuff like that. He had to take an Uber home, which was expensive. Oh, fucking well, that's the price he has to pay for throwing something in your face trying to get goddamn laughs from the people around him because he thought it was hilarious. Jokes are meant to be fucking funny. And if the person that you're directing your joke at isn't laughing, they are offended and you need to apologize. Hopefully, he got his 5 goddamn chuckles in while he was in that expensive ass Uber. His bad. I asked him why he would bring up that accident when he knows how I feel about it. He responded with a bunch of images of emojis pointing and laughing. He said that my hypersensitivity cost him money. He's out of work, so that's true. And that I need to nut up and learn to laugh at myself. No. One, hypersensitivity be damned. His joke is why he had to spend money to get home. With that being said, if you cannot afford to get yourself home from a night out that you willingly went to without fucking bitching about it, it's probably smarter for you to stay home. Third, if you're expecting someone to do something for you, it's probably in your best interest to watch your fucking mouth, not make them the butt of your jokes, and then still expect them to do things for you. That's not how life works, Puddin' Pop. This is not typical behavior for him. I don't really hang out with guys who do all that bro stuff. He has historically been a nice guy. I also would not normally just abandon someone that I had promised to ride. Am I the asshole for leaving him without a ride? Edit. Thank you for your responses, everyone. I didn't want to bog down this post with the technical parts of what happened during the descent with my wife. I can carry my wife. That wasn't the sole issue. There was not a safe way for me to reach her and pull her up from where she was without help, nor to get her from below or from the side. The man who came through had additional gear that helped, on top of having more upper body strength. It was the combination, and I apologize for not making that more clear. Honestly, baby, no. I don't think you're the asshole at all. I think your friend is facing the consequences of his actions. He was well aware how you felt about this situation, but still chose to use it as a joke. When you asked him, why would you say something like that? Why would you do that? The bitch decides to double down and send you pictures and stuff laughing at you, telling you that you need to nut up and laugh at yourself. Not a goddamn fucking thing about this situation was funny. Your friend fucked around and thought that he could make you the butt of his joke and found out you're not going to do shit for him if he's going to treat you like that. It's bad. This man is not your friend. He's not your friend, and he's really immature and childish as fuck. He really is. I don't know what man wouldn't be bothered by the fact that he almost lost his person. You thought for a nice amount of time you were going to lose your wife, and you physically could not help her. There was nothing that you could do. I can only imagine how that affects you. It's making me want to cry even thinking about being in a situation where baby could be hurt and there's nothing that I can do to help him. I'm so sorry that you guys went through that, but I absolutely love that you guys made it home safely. This guy is not your friend. Get rid of him.
Am I the asshole for bullshitting someone for years? I, 34 male, have a friend, K, 34 female, that I've known since college. Relevant to this story are Mary, 32 female, and Alan, 34 male. Mary is Kay's friend from high school, and Alan is my friend from middle school. I consider Kay and Alan to be my closest friends. While Mary is a friend of a friend, Kay feels the same, except switch around Alan and Mary, and I think everyone is on the same page. Anyway, Kay loves to host, and we all see each other at her events. Her place is the biggest, and she's super into holidays, so it's always a great time. Whenever she does host, I always ask what I can do or bring. I always say I'm happy to do anything she needs. She always says, just bring yourselves, and shoos anyone who tries to help her in the kitchen. I usually still bring wine or help get drinks, but always ask if I can do more. Recently, Mary just got engaged and asked Kay to be her maid of honor. Great, I'm sure I'll hear all about it and send her a card. I doubt I'll be invited, but I'm happy for her. Well, Kay was messaging this weekend about the bachelorette and asked for my help. At first, I'm game, assuming she needs to spitball ideas or something. No, she wants to rent an Airbnb, a 2-hour drive away for a long weekend. Cool. Plan a bunch of outings in wine country and games for the house. Cool. And have Alan and I secretly do all of the cleaning and setup when they're gone. Not cool. Yeah, definitely not cool. To be clear, we would not get to participate in the fun stuff or stay at the Airbnb. Alan and I met doing backstage stuff for Drama Club. So we would basically be stagehands for the weekend. Kay said we could put on avatars and secretly be their rides home on their big night out. Because sunglasses while driving at 3 a.m. is a great frigging idea. I told her that seems like a huge ask. Her reasoning was basically I host all of the time and just want to have some fun. You've offered to help before, and I'm calling in all of those favors. This is a little different. She wants me to be the one to ask Alan too. I love the guy, but he's a huge people pleaser. If I asked and said I would do it, there's a good chance he would say yes. I know it's taking the choice away from him, but I don't want to even ask. I don't blame you. Yeah, there's a big difference with like helping with a local party and then like going out of your way to do like a major road trip 2 hours away. That's a 4-hour ride. Going and coming, and then all of the time you're going to spend there. I told her this seems like a lot, and she said, oh, so whenever you said you'd do anything to help, that was just bullshit. I was actually taken aback a sec. I left her on red, and I'm just processing. I'm definitely not doing it. My wife and I are announcing we're pregnant soon, and I'm not leaving her for a weekend for this. I hate that this is how Kay will find out, though. I wanted it to be a happier moment, but here we are. What's getting to me is the insinuating that I was bullshitting when I offered to help in the past. I wasn't. I would have been happy to bartend or dishwash or anything at a party. I got to enjoy. I just don't think you can essentially bank offers and then use them all at once. Am I the asshole for not agreeing to do this? No, you're not the asshole. That is insane. Like, how do you just come out and just say, oh, well, you offered to help before? No, that was different. I was at it, like, locally, like, right now. Not a crazy road trip.
Am I the asshole for taking the attention away from my ex-husband's new girlfriend and telling her that he'll choose me over her if he has to? My best friend, Alex, male 26, and I, female 26, have been inseparable since we were 5 years old. When we were 13, we tried dating. We got married in college, and a few years later had a daughter, Yasmin, female 3. Nevertheless, circumstances turned out that 2 years ago, we decided to break up, but after a while, when we were convinced that we no longer had feelings for each other, we resumed platonic communication. We also have a child together, so it seems important. I'm in a stable relationship with another person now, but Alex is still my best friend. I mean, he literally saved me from my abusive family. We don't feel attracted to each other, but we've been through a lot together and we'll never stop being family to each other. I immediately warned my new partner that Alex was actively involved in my life and Yasmin's, and he had the right to leave if he knew he would be jealous. Good for you. Recently, Alex also had a girlfriend, female 23. Her name is Molly. Molly was made aware of our friendship and deliberately decided to put up with it. Everything was going well until Christmas came. My partner and I were flying to another country, and Yasmin was supposed to stay home for the holidays with Alex and his parents. When I took my daughter to their house, Molly was there. Alex's mom gave me a present. It was an expensive gadget for my hobby, which I had long dreamed of. I noticed that Molly was upset, but I didn't think much of it. When I returned from my trip, Alex said that we needed to talk. He told me that Molly was very upset that his mom had given me a special gift, but hadn't even given her a postcard. In fact, his parents just didn't know she was coming. She was supposedly mad at me because I, being an ex, am taking away her place in his family. I decided to talk to Molly personally and apologize. I told her that I understand that few people can be in a relationship like this without being weird, jealous, or worried. So I'm not mad at her. But she was warned at the very beginning. She said that yes, it's true, she didn't think that the presence of Yasmin or me would be noticeable in literally all areas of life, and she would like me to distance myself from Alex a little so that he would stop giving me so much importance. I told her that this would not happen. We ended up having a bit of a fight, and I told her that if my partner had forced me to choose between him and Alex, I would have chosen Alex, and I know that he would do the same. I mean, that is literally the father of your child. You're dating somebody who has a child. How do people not understand that's going to be a big deal in somebody's life? It's a whole child. Now Molly thinks that I want them to break up and tells everyone who's willing to listen about it. Alex thinks that we're both being silly and dramatic. Ew, I don't like that reaction. I'm not mad at Molly because I understand how unnerving the situation can be, but I'm not ready to flush 21 years of strong friendship down the toilet in order to make her feel better. Also, the father of your child. I swear to God, I'm not interested in Alex. I literally got a proposal 3 days ago, lol. But maybe I said too much to her and I should have been softer and more accommodating, especially considering the situation with the gift was really ugly. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for drinking on my designated driver nights?
Yes. Yes. You had a responsibility.
Absolutely.
Me and my friend group of close friends go out to drink reasonably often, and we always take turns being DD in a rotation of sorts. The issue for me is that I'm heavily visually impaired to the point where I can't and never will be able to legally drive, even using bioptics or other assistive tech. Instead, on my nights, I pay for an Uber or a taxi for all of us, which others have said is a completely acceptable option for them. The problem comes up with me drinking on my nights. Even though I'm not actually driving and can't reasonably be expected to, one of my friends expressed that it's not fair that I get to drink on my nights, when everyone else holds back on their nights. In my view, it's not unfair at all. If anyone else wanted to drink on their own night, they're more than welcome to pay for an Uber the way that I do every single time on my night. They just usually choose not to. Am I the asshole? I'm not an alcoholic and am more than fine going through an event or outing without drinking or anything, but I don't see the point in holding back when I reasonably could have one.
Am I wrong for still going to my daughter's wedding even though my other daughter isn't invited due to her panic attacks? I have two daughters. They are 27 and 24. The issue is my younger daughter got into a bad situation when she was in high school. She now has panic attacks and has been on meds for almost 8 years. My oldest is not close to her younger sibling. It boils down to celebrations usually getting interrupted by a panic attack. I know my youngest isn't doing it on purpose, but it really sucks when you're at a graduation and a panic attack happens. Sometimes she can get away and calm down, but sometimes she pushes herself too hard and it results in an attack. Now on to the issue. My oldest is getting married. Everyone was invited to her engagement party, and during the event, my youngest had an attack. The event ended soon after since the whole incident ruined the vibe. My oldest is really upset and kept going on about how she shouldn't have invited her. Invitations were sent out and my oldest did not invite her younger sibling. I asked her about it and she informed me that she wants her wedding to go smoothly and, unlike all of her other events, to not get interrupted by a panic attack. I asked her to reconsider and she said no. She wants one day where it is all about her. My youngest is really upset and asked me to skip the wedding. I informed her I will not. I won't miss her getting married. This resulted in an argument and she called me a jerk. I'm looking for opinions. My youngest gets attacks at all types of events. not just her sister's. So this isn't a I am trying to ruin my sister's event situation. She has been seeing a therapist. The main issue with the panic attacks is that they come on suddenly. She could be doing fine all night, and then something pushes her over the edge. She is a million times better than when she was a teenager and getting attacks twice a day. There are triggers. The biggest issue at events is large amount of people. It's almost impossible to avoid if she pushes herself at an event. I just need to know if I'm wrong.
Am I the asshole for kicking my wife out the house after she called CPS on my sister? So my sister has 5 kids under the age of 13. The 8-year-old girl and the 4-year-old boy are currently sick, and so the house is a mess due to the fact that she can't clean it. The oldest 3 and youngest 2 have different dads, and they both pay child support and take the kids during the weekends. My wife and I came over to drop off some soup, and we were going to take the other 3 kids out for a fun afternoon. When we got there, the house was definitely messy. Clothing littered everywhere, and the dishes were not done. I shrugged it off and knew that my sister would get it done eventually. My wife thought differently and decided that she would call CPS on her for neglect. I was the most mad I've ever been, and I told my wife to get out the house and stay with her mom for the time being. My wife knows that the kids are sick and how nicely she keeps the house. I basically told my wife to fuck off. I was pretty angry as my sister was a complete mess over the phone. Her side of the family has been calling me and telling me how horrible I am for kicking my wife out. My wife is an utter mess and I'm getting non-stop texts from her. Am I an asshole for kicking her out? How does the wife have the nerve to be a mess? Like, girl, can you imagine what the sister is going through? And you over here just mad because your husband kicked you out. You should have never called CPS, especially if you know that she usually keeps the house nice. She's lucky all he did was kick her out and didn't ask for a divorce.
Am I the a-hole for calling out a mom who was embarrassing a Hispanic woman over pronunciation? I, 31 female, was doing a friend a favor picking up her son at daycare, run by a woman from Guatemala. At pickup, I saw a woman in her late 40s causing a scene about how the daycare woman was disrespecting her 4-year-old daughter by pronouncing her name Tija instead of Thea, her name. She was loud and calling the woman gross for not being able... calling the woman gross. I don't know if they meant to say gross things or just literally calling her gross, but she was loud and calling the woman gross for not being able to get her daughter's name right in front of both kids and parents. I'm not sure if I should have just minded my own business, but I spoke up and said the th, the sound does not exist in every language and that it is wrong to embarrass someone like that because of an accent. That definitely put an end to the scene as the woman ran off. Later, my friend called to say that I caused a problem for her among the other moms at the daycare. Am I the a-hole? Little kids are such sponges, and I feel like it would be more of a problem if you had your child see somebody get away with disrespecting somebody over an accent.
My 40 male ex-wife, 40 female, wants me to be with her in her last days. So, backstory. I met my ex when we were both 10. She was/is my twin sister's best friend. And we've always been kind of a trio growing up. We started dating at 14, got married at 23. Things got ugly though, because 5 years after getting married, she told me she had a month-long affair with her coworker. Apparently the guilt was too much for her, so she confessed. We tried to work through it, but after a few months of trying, I knew that despite the fact that I loved her, I couldn't trust her anymore. She told me she still loved me, that she'd wait for me, and prove that I was the only one. I wanted to believe her, but some things just can't be fixed. We never had kids. 3 years after the divorce, I met my now wife, 38, and maybe hold her from time to time. I told her I wouldn't do that because that was pretty much emotionally cheating. My sister kept arguing and begging me to at least see her and hear her out. No screaming. The kids were in the next room with her oldest daughter till my wife came back. My sister told her the whole story. While she looked upset, she said she understood where my ex was coming from. When my sister left, my wife and I talked about it. My wife knows everything that happened in the past with my ex. She says that while she isn't thrilled about the idea, she won't get upset if I decided to see her on a regular basis. My wife is literally the best thing that has ever happened to me, and I love her more than anyone. She makes me happier than I have ever been in my life, even in the good times with my ex. She knows I won't cheat. I have zero romantic feelings for my ex, so there's nothing lingering there. I don't hate her or anything. It's just that love that I had for her has long since died. After thinking about it for a while, I'm honestly 50-50 about it. I know I don't owe her anything, but I feel like I might regret not seeing her at least one more time, since the last time I saw her was on my wedding day, and that wasn't a good encounter for either of us. Unless you count the times I occasionally see her at the store or something. I honestly feel like despite what she did, she still deserves to go with some peace. On the other hand, I'm not entirely sure that it might potentially affect our marriage. My wife says she's okay with it, and I believe her, but I can't be sure that she'll feel the same way after it happens. I don't want anything to jeopardize what I have right now. I'm not thrilled about going myself, to be honest. Any advice? What should I do? And then there's an update. Yeah. Okay, so update, quick recap. My ex-wife, who I've known since I was 10, cheated on me, but now is dying and wants me to be around before she dies. It's been almost 3 weeks since I posted, and a lot has happened since. I got some solid advice from a lot of you guys, especially some who messaged me from their personal experiences, and I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. So here's what happened. As many of you guys suggested, I talked to my wife. We had a long discussion about the whole situation, and I assured her that no matter what, she is and always will be my first priority. I always assured her that while I wanted to say my goodbyes, I would never act like her husband. It would be more like seeing a childhood friend or something like that. I also told her I would never spend the night, nor would I be alone with her. She was more comfortable after our talk and was pretty okay with the idea with me seeing my ex again. As you guys guessed, she really felt like she was forced into being okay with it when my sister asked, but this time she really was okay. So I talked to my sister, and after a long heated discussion about what my role would be in the visit, she agreed to the boundaries my wife and I set. A week later, my sister and I came over to our old marital home. It was surreal because the emotions from way back came back to me. I didn't feel any sadness nor hatred or anything negative. I saw my ex, who was waiting for us in the living room, and she cried when I walked in. Most of you suggested she was faking it, but while she was still strong, you could tell almost immediately something was wrong with her. I indulged her with a hug and talked to her for a few hours while my sister made lunch. I showed her pictures of my kids. I told her stories about what they're like. And honestly, I didn't know how I would react after I saw her again, but it just feels like seeing an old friend you haven't seen in a long time. There was no hate or anything like that. I walked around the house, and it was pretty much the way it was when I left over a decade ago. I'm not really sure how I feel about our wedding photos still framed and pictures of us still around the house, but it wasn't really my place to say anything. The three of us had lunch and played board games all afternoon, and honestly felt like back when we were kids and the three of us would hang out together. It was nice. I left at around 6. She was sad, but she understood. When I hugged her goodbye, she whispered, "I love you," to me, but then said how she's happy I was able to find the happiness she couldn't give me. That part got to me, to be honest. I was fighting back tears. I told her I'd see her again, and she asked if I could bring my kids next time. I told her I would, and I left to pick up dinner for my family. I told my wife everything that happened, and she was quite happy about the outcome. I guess it helped that I brought her home her favorite food, but she also agreed to let me bring the kids next time. Overall, it was a great experience seeing her again. I feel like I needed it, and I would have regretted not doing so. Again, I'd like to thank everyone who gave me advice. Also, please don't roast my ex too much. She made a mistake and paid the price for it, but it doesn't mean she's an evil person. This will be my last update. Thank you so much, Reddit.
My husband doesn't want anyone I work with to know that we're married. My husband is a notoriously private person. For example, he has social media profiles but doesn't share content. He's also very strict about keeping his private life separate from his professional life, and has been very clear that he expects the same from me. The problem is that we both work in the same field, and he regularly works with some colleagues of mine. My husband requested that I not mention his name or background at work, since he felt like that would disclose too much personal info, and he wants to appear impartial. I work for a large firm and in a different branch than the one that he deals with, so I didn't expect it to be an issue at first. A few months ago, he started working with Jeff, a colleague of mine from another team who I had met at an after-work event a few weeks earlier. Jeff is a great guy. My husband enjoys working with him, and whenever I bump into him at the office, we always end up chatting. My husband asked me not to let Jeff know about our connection, which was fine at first since I was talking to Jeff more about personal stuff anyway. How was your weekend, etc., stuff like that. So the fact that my husband worked with him didn't feel relevant. As I got to know Jeff a little better, I told my husband that I'd prefer to let him know that we're married, but he insisted on keeping things strictly professional. That feels kind of weird for me since at this point Jeff is a colleague I'm very cordial with. We're even talking about meeting outside of work this summer. We've followed each other on social media. He's told me in detail about his wife and kids, etc. Lately, my husband is having several meetings a week with Jeff, and now Jeff is starting to refer to their project and my husband when talking to me. He even showed me an email from my husband because he wanted to share something funny that my husband wrote. and I sat there with a straight face, having to pretend that I didn't know my own husband. My husband doesn't want anyone I work with to know that we're married. At this point, I worry that Jeff will be weirded out when he finds out. What if he runs into us when we're out together? I feel like the email incident switched the whole situation from, quote, info I did not share because I deemed it irrelevant to lying by omission. Do you have any advice on how to handle this? Should I refrain from hanging out with Jeff? I really want to be respectful towards Jeff and not lie, but I don't want to share anything my husband doesn't want me to. I'd also like to know what people would think if they were Jeff in this situation and how they would respond if at some point our relationship came out. If I were Jeff, I would feel so weird if I ran into you guys and saw that you guys were married. And secondly, I don't know what your job is. Like, are you a CIA agent or something? I don't really understand why this person can't know that you guys are married.
So my mother-in-law decided to sleep with the priest on our wedding day. And obviously I kicked her out the wedding. Now I need to know if I'm in the wrong. It was all just a really awkward situation. So my mother-in-law is newly single. She's literally just gone through a divorce with obviously my husband's dad. If I do say so myself, messy divorce. I'm not gonna lie, my mother-in-law has been like wilding. Okay, been like a little single 20-year-old again. And before our wedding night, I actually thought this was really funny and like sweet in a way. She truly is living her best life. Now, obviously our wedding came at a very weird time, especially for my husband. Simply there to support him through that process because everyone knows how complicated weddings can be, alone when your parents have just got divorced and can't really be in the same room. It gets to our wedding day and I'm very much ready to walk down the aisle. My bridesmaids are ready. Husband is there waiting to her. A panic text from our coordinator saying like the priest isn't here, which is obviously so weird. Like out of everybody you would think a priest would be the person you can rely on for your wedding day. Apparently not. When I tell you we were waiting for maybe like 45 minutes extra, I was very much worried about our guests at this point because how boring is that? So whilst my coordinator is actually trying to scramble to find this priest, we just decide to walk down the aisle. Okay, we play the music and I just decide to at least be in front of our guests so we can make jokes about this and laugh because where is the priest at this point? I'm walking down the aisle, obviously I noticed my husband's mum isn't there as well. I put two and two together straight away. My husband was like very clueless and he was also like, Mum's not here as well. Like, I wonder if there's been like an accident somewhere. And I'm like, honey, come on now. You know, I was completely right because priest walks in, actually adjusting himself. Immediately after, in walks my husband's mum, adjusting herself. Now, I don't make it a big thing, but I literally just tell her to walk back out and I say, please don't come any part of the wedding. My coordinator made sure she was off the premises. All people have kind of said, like, you were kind of harsh for doing that.
Am I the asshole for refusing to watch my daughter when we meet with my husband's friends? I, 26 female, and my husband, 27 male, have a toddler, 2 female. I don't know how everyone else has it, but our toddler creates so much chaos wherever she is. She's so curious. She explores everything all the time. She loves to rearrange stuff and she runs wherever she needs to go. Basically, she's like what I've seen most 2-year-olds to be like. Yeah, she's definitely a 2-year-old. At home, it's fine. Of course, I try to keep her in check, but we of course have childproof our entire home. The problem here is that one of my husband's friends and his girlfriend live about 5 minutes away from us. My husband and I get invited there almost every weekend, whether it's for food or just for coffee. They're lovely people, but their house is filled with stuff. It's messy and overall the opposite of our home. No problem though. They don't have children and they like to have stuff around. The problem is that every weekend I spend 3 hours running after her, comforting her when she trips, making sure she doesn't break stuff or put things in her mouth. It's honestly tiring. And the fact that my husband is just sitting at the table and chatting while I'm running around like crazy for so long irritates me. That would piss me off too. You better than me though, because I'd walk up and put her in his lap. Your turn. Tag, you're in. When we got invited over 2 weekends ago, I told him that I wouldn't tag along and then explained my reasons. He told me that I was overreacting and that it's a normal part of parenting. Of course you would think that. You're not doing any fucking parenting. You get to sit there and drink your coffee while it's hot. I'm chasing little Fifi around the fucking house and my coffee's so goddamn cold, it's got ice around the rim. Of course you would think this is a normal part of parenting. You're not fucking doing it. I told him either way, I wasn't going. If he wanted our daughter to tag along, he would take her himself. So he did. And he came back an hour later and was in a bad mood the rest of the day. What happened? Was parenting a little bit hard for you? Did you finally realize how you're actually not helping me? Was it difficult? Are you tired? Do you need a nap? Did you get to drink your coffee while it was hot? What's the matter? I asked him how it went, and he asked me if I felt happy with myself. Actually, yeah. I've got more energy this weekend than I've had for a while. I didn't spend 3 hours chasing your kid around by myself. I feel pretty good. This last weekend, we got invited over once again. I asked him if he wanted to look after her himself or do 50-50 with me. He didn't respond and went there by himself. He's been off with me the entire week, making passive-aggressive remarks about my insane need to always be right and other stuff. Sir, nobody has said anything about anyone being right but you. I told you that it was difficult for me to go and chase her around for 3 hours to make sure she's okay and safe in a house that's not kid-friendly, and that I didn't want to go because it's fucking tiring. You told me that it was normal and then took her to prove a point just to come back early because you realized I was right. Now you're upset that I was right. You're the only person that has an issue with it. I haven't said anything about it. Y'all really be giving the coup de cat to men like this? Oh my gosh. I'm starting to feel like maybe I went overboard because I know that he has a much harder time keeping her in check than I have, and even I have it hard. In my opinion, that just goes to show how he's not as active as he should be. You struggle and you're around her all the time. He's not around, so I know that he fucking struggles. And listen, I know having a 2-year-old is pure chaos. They are gangster thug monsters and they don't listen to anybody. I get that 100%. But he was back in less than an hour because he could not control your 2-year-old. To me, that just shows that he doesn't actively try to do anything with her, whether you guys are out at his friend's house or at home. Am I the asshole for refusing to go there if that means I have to watch her the whole time? Them coming to us isn't an option. I don't know why, because before his girlfriend moved in, he was here just as much as we were at his place. But after she moved in, he's declined every invite to come here. Small update. We've talked pretty short about it this morning. It turns out he got pretty embarrassed at his friend's house. That 2-year-old turned his ass every which way but loose. We'll probably talk more about it, but yeah, he pretty much realized the difference in how much we both put in. So am I the asshole? Girl, you know you're not the asshole. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything fucking wrong. Your husband's pride and ego took a hit. And because of pride and ego, he can't admit that, so he's going to stomp around and make it seem like you're the problem. Ew. You told your husband, hey, your friends invited us over this weekend, but I'm not going to go because I'm constantly chasing little Fifi around, and honestly, I'm tired. I'm tired. Back hurt, feet hurt, stomach hurt, chest hurt, my throat dry because I can't drink my coffee. I don't want to go. I'm going to stay here. It's just easier and safer to be here. Your husband tells you you're being dramatic, you're overreacting, you're being so fucking extra. That's just a part of parenting. I don't see why you're making such a big deal about it. Then decides, I'm gonna take her to prove a point, just for your point to bitch slap him all the way back to your house less than an hour after they left. But instead of him admitting it because, you know, ego and pride, he's gonna stomp around and make it seem like you're the fucking problem. Girl, you know you didn't do nothing wrong. What the fuck?
Am I wrong for kicking out a bridesmaid because she wore the wrong dress? Storytime. My wedding was a winter-themed wedding. So we landed on the colour scheme of forest green and gold, obviously. Now my dress is obviously white and my bridesmaids were going to wear forest green. And I requested that my maid of honour wear black. So I had this friend called Amy who I had asked to be one of my bridesmaids. So when we went shopping, I told my bridesmaids the colour theme. And Amy was like, I'm sorry, but forest green is not a good choice. She said that she didn't think it was a flattering colour and that I should choose something more girly. I was like, no Amy, my wedding is a winter theme, forest green and gold. She suggested pink, blue, and even red. I was like, no, but thanks for your opinion. She somehow found out that my maid of honour was wearing black and wanted to wear black as well. And I was like, no, my maid of honour is wearing black. Only my maid of honour is wearing black. And just wanting to add in here, I am paying for all of the dresses. So let us now fast forward to my actual wedding day. Obviously, everybody is getting their hair and makeup done. Amy shows up 30 minutes late with a bag that looks like it has a dress inside. I was like, Amy, you've brought a bag? And she said it's a dress for the reception that she was going to ask me if she could change into. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever, I'm not here for the drama. So we're walking down the stairs and the ceremony's about to start in like 20 minutes. Amy is the last person to come down and she is wearing a black dress. Now at the time I was preoccupied taking pictures of my parents, but my maid of honour came over and was like, we've got a situation. I did confront Amy on the spot and she told me that she hated her bridesmaid dress that much that she just couldn't wear it. She was like, it makes me look gross, but don't worry, I'm just gonna wear black. Are you, Amy, are you? I said, Amy, God bless you, please go and change.
but she started to walk away from me. I said, Amy, I'm going to ask you one more time, and if you do not oblige, I'm going to call security and get you out of here. She then began yelling at me to F off. I called security without hesitation and told them to get this girl out. Bye, Amy. Of course, Amy didn't go quietly. She made a massive scene, calling me a bitch, screaming, shouting, and she said that I couldn't force her to wear anything. I am a horrible, inconsiderate friend. So the rest of the wedding went on, and it was honestly absolutely amazing. But ever since the wedding, Amy has not stopped calling me. She's been saying some really, really horrible things, and then had the nerve to ask me if she could have the money back that she spent on that black dress. I literally had to block this girl's number. But now some of my other bridesmaids have started giving me shit. They've told me I've been really, really harsh kicking her out and embarrassing her. So what do you think?
I'm cheating on my husband with his brother because I think he's too fat. Me and my husband, who let's just call Mark, have been together for 12 and a half years. We've been married for 8 of them. And what actually brought us together, how we met, was the gym. We're both very much into the gym. He lifts competitively. I don't. I can't just do it as a sport, as a hobby. We bonded in the gym over eating well, cooking, you get the gym. Anyway, over the past maybe 2 years, he's been gaining a lot of weight. At first, I didn't really mind too much. I thought maybe he was bulking. I thought maybe health reasons he had to. No, I didn't really think too much into it. Point now where he's not going to the gym, he's not eating healthy, we're not cooking together. Like every single thing that brought us together and close, we're not doing anymore. When I kind of started to realize this, I obviously started to get super upset about it. And my intention wasn't actually to cheat. The first person I opened up to about this is my best friend. We were talking about it so much. We would like go for lunch dates, go to Starbucks. It was really getting me down because I love Mark so much. I love my husband and just didn't feel like it was the same relationship anymore. Anyway, on one of these kind of like lunch dates with my best friend, my husband's brother walks into the restaurant. Here's what I'm saying. I didn't see him walk in and my best friend didn't really recognize him. So here I am basically bitching about my husband and his brother is stood right behind me. I get a text from this man to that night basically saying he overheard what I was saying. If I ever need to talk, I can talk to him. Like he's noticed his brother has changed in his whole demeanor as well. Like maybe he's depressed, like we didn't know. I took him up on that offer. Me and him went for a few drinks. You can guess where this is going. One thing led to another. Ended up in his bed that night. And before any of you come at me, I tried to speak to my husband. I tried to get him to open up. I was asking, is he feeling super sad? Like what is going on? I tried multiple times and this man would not open up to me. He'll just get annoyed every single time I tried to speak to him about it. I don't want anyone saying I didn't try because I did. At the end of the day, I have needs in a relationship too. And I'm not even talking about sleeping with someone. I have emotional needs, I have a connection, and that just wasn't there with Mark currently. Anyway, where I technically am a little bit wrong in this is that me and my husband's brother have been sleeping together now for quite a while and I don't quite know what to do about it because I definitely don't have feelings for him and he doesn't to me either, but it's very convenient for us both. So I don't really know how to get out of this situation. Maybe I should start with the divorce and go from there. I don't quite know.
I outed my gay cousin on purpose because I hate my aunt. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me by a follower. After I simply asked her to shut up because she was calling me fat, she got up from her chair and swung her open hand at my face. My dad immediately got up from his chair and tried to stop her. He was a little too late because she connected. I fell to the ground. That's how hard the slap was. My grandparents, cousins, and other aunts came running into the room, and both my parents were on top of my aunt trying to hold her back from continuing to slap me. And that's when I did it. It's like something possessed me. I could not stop talking. It was like word vomit. I pointed at my cousin Rick. My cousin Rick is a teenager. He confessed to me 3 years ago that he thought he could be gay. I looked at my aunt. Just so you know, Rick is gay. She went even crazier. Rick wasn't there at the time, thank God. The whole family was shocked. No one said anything. My parents kicked my aunt out of the house, and the rest of the family asked me what happened. And then I recounted the story that Rick told me. I could not predict what was about to happen. Part 3 is after I outed my gay cousin, my family was so shocked. I told them about how I found out. Here's the shitty part of all of this. Even though my aunt physically assaulted me in front of my entire family, they forgot about it because I one-upped her and told her that her son was gay. And this to them was much worse than her assaulting me. The very next day, my grandparents summoned a family meeting. And guess who shows up? My abusive aunt. And that's when my grandparents told the entire family. I want you to think there were 40 Italians in the house at once. My grandparents made the entire family swear secrecy. They would never repeat what I said in the kitchen. We all agreed, and that was that. But I couldn't let it go. And that's when I decided to remind them that I had been physically assaulted the day before. And thankfully, my parents told the entire family that my aunt was no longer welcome in our house and that she would no longer be invited to any family functions. Guess what my aunt did? She tried to slap me again, but all she managed to do was pull my hair. My parents went to get a restraining order. The family just said no. I am legitimately scared of this one.
Story time about how my husband moved his mistress into our home and is making me pay for all the bills. Disclaimer is not my story time. I said I mean Instagram. By the way, this is my beautiful sister Marcella. She's going on a fancy boat for a bridal shower. Back to the story. My husband and I have been together for 4 years. He did cheat on me when we were boyfriend and girlfriend, but I did forgive him for that. We were engaged for about 2 years, which in my book is a very long time. He kept putting off the wedding, and here was my mistake. I gave him an ultimatum. We either got married or we needed to break up. I decided to tell him the truth. There were several men in my life that were interested in dating me. I kept rejecting them because I thought I was going to get married to this man. And of course, he got incredibly jealous. The next day, we set a date for our wedding. Fast forward to last year. I started to suspect that he was seeing someone else. I noticed that he started hiding his phone from me, and he would always have it on do not disturb mode. So I started getting really suspicious, of course. I started my own business online, and I was selling a lot of products through my website. So I decided to get myself a new car. After that, he started acting even stranger. He would make comments about how nice my car was, and that the least I could have done was bought him one too. There was no way I was gonna buy him a car. His behavior was so odd. One day he fell asleep on the couch, so I decided to look at his phone. That's when I found that he was hiding a bunch of dating apps. He had over 40 conversations on each app. He was a serial dater. Story time about how my husband moved his mistress into our home and is making me pay for all the bills. Disclaimer is not my story time, it's on Instagram. This is my beautiful sister, you guys. I'm doing her makeup. When I found all the dating apps on my husband's phone, I quickly confronted him. Of course, he started to lie. He told me his friends downloaded all the dating apps on his phone as a joke. So I pulled up all the conversations he had on the dating apps and I started reading them to him. That's when he said that he was just testing it out to see if he could find anybody, as an experiment. Well, guess what? I questioned him for 2 hours. By the end of the 2 hours, he told me the truth. He said that he had been dating a few women and that he was only doing it because he wasn't happy in the marriage. That's when I told him that he should have just told me the truth because I've been wasting all my time trying to be with him. He then swore to me up and down that he would stop. A few months later, he was acting strange again, and this time I decided to follow him. The first day I started following him, I saw he went to some girl's house, knocked on her door, and I confronted them together. My husband told me he was in love. Part 3 is a story time about how my husband moved his mistress into our home and is making me pay for all the bills. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I sent me on Instagram. After I knocked on her door and confronted them, my husband told me that he fell in love. It felt like someone had kicked me in the chest. I told him that I just wanted to speak civilly. So we all sat down and spoke for 5 hours. By the end of those 5 hours, my husband somehow convinced me that the best thing was for her to move into our home. Apparently she had financial trouble and her ex was stalking her. My husband told me that the best thing would be for all of us to be in a relationship and that would make him happiest. Otherwise, he would want to get a divorce from me. So I felt like I had to agree. So this girl ended up moving into our house. But my husband decided to quit his job so that he could take care of her because of her crazy ex. And he told me that I was making enough money for the 3 of us. That's when I found myself having to pay for all of our dinners, our groceries, and rent. After a few weeks, I told him that he and her needed to move out or that they both needed to get a job. That's when he told me that I would be putting both their lives in danger if I made them get jobs because of her ex. I know I should just get a divorce, but somehow I think that this can be fixed. I need you guys to give me the strength to divorce him. Help me out. Years ago, I met this guy that I thought was really cute. Stupid and naive, and I believed everything he said. I worked in customer service. He came into my job one day and just started flirting with me, and I was like thrilled. My job was really boring. This cute guy comes in and just starts talking to me, and I just fall in love. I'm not exaggerating. I know it's pathetic. I couldn't believe that he was talking to me and that he was interested in me. Next day, he asked me for my phone number, and I gave it to him. Went on one date, and I was legit in love. It starts to get creepy. He was 20 years older than me, and you could say he GROOMED'd me. See, I didn't know what was happening. I was 19, I had never had a boyfriend, and I barely had ever been kissed. Played me like a fiddle. After 2 weeks of going on dates, he finally kissed me. I knew that he was the man I wanted to marry. But when I told my coworker about him, she told me that he was married. I asked him about it. He told me that my coworker must have been mistaking him for his brother because his brother and him had similar names and the brother was married. 2 days later, I asked one of his friends about it. That's when his friend tells me that he doesn't even have a brother and that he had been married for 15 years to a girl that was also 20 years younger than him. Even knowing this, I still married him. And you'll never guess how. Part 2 is already up. Story time about how I married a guy who was already married. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It's on Instagram. Even though I knew he was already married to somebody else, and even though I knew he lied to me about already being married, I still went ahead and married him. I was completely obsessed with him. Because he was already legally married to somebody else, we decided to use a different name for him, and somehow it worked. We actually drove 5 hours away to get married, used fake names, filed in a different state, and then we drove back to our hometown, where literally no one knew we were married. It was our little secret. But then the poo hit the fan. He kept promising that he would leave his wife. But one day, I'm having dinner with my parents at a restaurant, and guess who shows up? My husband with his wife. And boy, did they look happy. He was all over her, kissing her neck and her hands. Not only until he realized that I was in the restaurant did he stop. Then he actually had the audacity to come to my table, introduce himself to my parents, and tell him that he knew me from my job. All the while, his wife was sitting at the table looking at me. And in that moment, I knew that she knew something was up. It's like she stared straight into my soul. She must have seen the way that I was looking at him because she ran up to the table and introduced herself to me and my parents. When she tried to shake my hand,
I didn't shake it back. My parents told me I was being rude, so I forced myself to shake her hand. 2 days later, she calls me and asks me what's up. But I lied and said that her husband was just a friend. Then I got an idea. I decided to be her friend. I asked her out to coffee and we had a great time. And little did she know that she was sitting with her husband's new wife. I feel like this way I can try to control their relationship from the inside. I confessed everything to my mom and she thinks I'm crazy. I think I'm a little crazy too. Am I completely wrong for this?
I, 35 female, discovered my husband, 38 male, infidelity and his double life thanks to a post on Facebook.
Always Facebook.
Always Facebook. My husband and I have been married for 10 years and have 2 children together. He travels often. I also want to say that about 8 months ago, I discovered that I was infected with an incurable STD. He blamed me for this, saying that I was the unfaithful one. I was browsing Facebook in a mother's group. In that group, it is a group where mothers ask for help with children, ask for donations, share experiences, memes, etc. In that group, a mother shared that she would give her husband a laxative tea so that he wouldn't go to a soccer game the next day. It was all mockery and laughter in the comments of the post and telling her to update the result. I am a person who likes to read comments, and while reading comments, I unfortunately saw a profile that had a photo of a woman with my husband in it.
What the
Apparently, they got married civilly. My husband created another profile, but it has a different name and surname.
Oh.
They have a child. I think that child has his false last name because she uploaded a post where she went to register the child's birth certificate and placed the full name there as if she was proud of it. I posted in the same group, now that they have the option to post anonymously, and several gave me advice, and we deduced that possibly the other woman did not know because of what she shared on her profile. I wrote to her and was surprised that that bitch did know that he was married. They have been married for 2 years and their baby is approximately 14 months old. But they're not technically married because we never got a divorce. Their marriage is not valid. I have hired a lawyer and I took all the evidence and I am in the divorce process. Since when I complained he preferred her, he left the house to live with her. Besides this, he refuses to give alimony, claiming that he has another child to support, and that if he has to give alimony to my children, he will seek to give the minimum payment, even if he has to quit his job.
Oh my God.
How do I proceed with my life? I feel like I'm very limited in rebuilding my life because of the STD he has given me and being a single mother.
I mean, if you're going through the process, I would imagine the judge is going to side with you with all of the evidence provided.
Yo, if I was the other woman in that situation too, like, what makes you think that he's not gonna do the same thing to you now that your marriage is not legal? He can fuck around and get another girl pregnant, can ditch you on the side as well. Like, both women should just leave this person.